It'll work. Oh.
And one of my favorite guys, Billy Idol, attitude. Attitude is why I like that. Come on, Ripple, yeah, he is a bad motherfucker. Yeah, but I'm talking about Billy. Looked cool, stood there cool, made that snarl, Rick just pumping his fist in the air. Come on, tell him.
Howdy, my niggas. What's up? What's up? Sorry, I was like staring blankly into your soul there for a second. I was typing up a description and shit. I thought I'd do a change of pace for tonight. Not much. Yeah. I'm gonna give it a little minute, but I'll give it a second. But I kind of have a little change of pace, so I want to talk about for today. Playing Japanese Mario Torpedo Boat on Xbox. Nice. Cool. Yeah. What happened? What changed pace? Nothing. Just the theme for conversation. I mean, look at the title. Coming in with a mindset instead of just letting the mindset add on. Oh.
What? Oh, yes, you mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which one you want? This one.
Is this the, Oh, yeah, wasn't this stuff that, oh, yeah, it was the stuff that we got from him.
There's stuff in here somewhere.
I have it over here already.
Okay. And then they have the other stuff, the little blight stuff.
I guess just like a little bit of both, just because why not? Little mixtures of things. Jeez, this stuff is light. Yeah, I don't have it at full ace yet. Just thought I'd put a little, like, both in there. British tankers being held by Iranian Navy. Britain says if it isn't released, they will retaliate. So basically, the U.S. is using Britain as a little puppet to instigate more for them. Because if they get into a war, seems like that we also go into war. Thank you, England. Shit heels. Can we just get the war on already? The sentence don't happen. Why let's go with it already? It has to happen like the whole World War I, dude. That's how it has to happen. It has to be like that final set in stone. Like, we don't want it. It's gonna happen. We're waiting, but it's just gonna. But we're all just kind of anticipating. Gotta get my settle down bowl going before I get into a topic.
Bitch.
Japanese Navy dropped on War Thunder completely finally. They're working on Italian French Navy. Cool. I'll have to start playing War Thunder again. It's been a minute since I played War Thunder, honestly. Might as well get the War Thunder talk out of the way right now since we're having it. Because as soon as I get settled in, people start showing up. Probably like Joe and Stefan. Harley and Tyler are going to show up here later. Though Tyler's going to be here only for a minute because apparently he has a booty call. So I guess he's going to be here temporarily to say hi and then say bye to see some booty. More power to him, bro. But we'll have Harley here. And I think there will be. I think once he shows up, we'll have our discussion. Did you get the ferry barge? Gonna talk about once they arrive. Are you not reading? Is the title not like showing what? Is the title not showing off what it says? It's a live Ignarism I want to do tonight. It says, "Let's talk about the Electorate." Tyler's gonna stop by, spend the night, then leave. Catastrophe. I didn't see the title. What? It didn't change? Oh, whatever. It says, let's talk about the Electorate. Ignarism Live. That's what it says. And then I have a description down below that kind of adds on to that. It might, like, refresh the stream, it might show up. If you refresh it, it might pop on. Because you popped on as I was changing shit, so... That's probably why it says catastrophe. Or catastrophe instead. All it says is catastrophe. I think the Electorate needs to die in a fucking fire. To quote Brett King. Well, hey. We'll get into all of that. Don't worry, my friend. Don't you worry. Yo, MC. Hey, there we go. Hey, Stefan, what does the title say? Harlan and Melty are on the way to you. I know. Like Harlan said, this country is fucked because of the people. Again, we'll get into it. We'll get into it, my friend. I haven't even gotten my, like, settle down, just got home bowl yet. I haven't even loaded that, bro. There's no band-aid fix to our entire system. It's gotta be fundamental down to rethought. Though Tyler got McBride at the Wichita. Yeah, I know.
You know what is Wichita?
No. Yeah, I'm streaming at the Wichita. No, he's got a booty call over there.
No.
I like to call it the booty call, but yes. He's basically gonna attempt to get his lay for his monthly lay. His quota. Tyler's quota for the month. Alright. I kind of want to actually, the reason why I have it as let's talk about Electorate for the stream is just because Paul's been talking about it. He got intense, and honestly, it made me kind of think about it and want to talk about it too. Because there's a lot, like, honestly, there's a lot of sentiment that I share with him. And I'm actually, I actually happen to be listening to it in the background a little bit. Well, I paused it, but, I mean, because, let me just get this bowl first, then we'll keep going. Because this is something I think we can all, you know, have a fun collective discussion about. Of course, it'll be kind of off and on, but, you know, this is something I think, you know, well, that is going to consistently be talked about throughout now the whole stream. The theme of the Electorate and the most of the bands were ass. I saw 2 good ones. What if Tyler gets stuck with a child support baby? That's his. That'd be his own fault. What am I supposed to? Like, what am I? Like, how am I supposed to? What am I supposed to do with that? Well, that won't work out well for anyone. Nobody, especially for the child. Do you consider Pearl Jam grunge? Yeah. Alternative too. Sure. Melty isn't exactly very responsible. Yeah. Yeah. It would at least be funny. Not for the kid. Everyone else around it would be, but not for the kid. And the girls he chooses are usually really iffy. Do you really think he's actually looking at, you know, these chicks in a wholehearted sense? That's how his mom would probably end up raising it. Honestly, I would prefer that. The Melvin's the solid guy who lived that introduced Cobain to girl. Nice. Yes, Pearl Jam is definitely grunge. Pearl Jam is more softer side of grunge. I mean, I consider them like alternative grunge rock. So I guess that's on the lighter side of grunge, or the softer side. Because this is definitely alternative rock influenced. I really want to see Pearl Jam. They're on my list, along with RXCP. Oh yeah. I'd like to see both of those bands, honestly. That'd be cool. My favorite was Screaming Trees with Mark Lanigan. Nice.
Yeah, I think you can touch me.
Alright.
Whew. Well, it's 90 degrees in Lubbock, and it's 76 here.
Whoop, I'm out, Max. Leaving? Yep. He's picking up his Max ride. It's our, like, little train system in Portland. The Max lines. If you've seen, like, news reports of Portland, you will know. Why? It's Stefan. Like, he's chilling on the Max, and all of a sudden it comes up. He's gotta, you know, get on, hit it. Is he coming back? Possibly. I don't know how long his Max ride is. Like, I don't know how long he's going. Like, if he's having a long Max ride, chances are he might come back in a minute. If he's on a short ride, then he's probably going to be back later. I hope he comes back, because honestly, I want to have this discussion with him. Because as soon as Tyler and Harley show up, I know Tyler won't be here long, but I want to have see what they think about it. Is that the bus? It's a part of the organization that does run our bus systems, TriMet. So, not necessarily, but it's ran by the same people and stuff. So, yeah. I mean, you know, like the little railways that are in down metro areas, It's not like a subway. Though some parts are kind of like a subway area because it goes through tunnels, but there's no like max station in a tunnel. That actually be kind of cool, have a max line in a tunnel.
Really? Kind of dangerous, though.
Yeah. I mean, it would just have to depend on the layout of the station itself. If it's if it's like the layout of like some New York subway station, it'd be a little sketchy. But if it's like, you know, not like a huge area, but very open, you know, and there's no little corner to hide off into or some shit, then it'd honestly be alright. Harley Weinstein coping with the urban meth coyote. What the fuck? Getting all our notifications on here, good lord. Streamlabs. Telegram is gonna be deleted for self-destruction after 6 months of no activity and shit. Yeah. That's kind of a quiet one. Literally at this point, I'm just waiting for Tyler Harley. Fuck it. I might as well have this conversation with you at this point. I mean, I was free, like... Quiet what? Bart? Did you yawn? No. I don't really quietly yawn. I always go like a... I always have like a... I always have that. I always have that... going on. Sometimes I have like a... you know, kind of quieter, but... You know, it's still relatively loud. It's like, you know, that's like the quietest I'll be. I don't really have a quiet yawn. Sometimes I'll just like, you know, stretch my, like, jaw, but it won't be like yawning, really. The Electorate, though. Yeah. Yeah, might as well start getting into that now at this rate, just because, you know, why waste time? The Electorate sucks. I do agree. I think, you know, that's a kind of interesting thing to kind of delve into. Why it sucks. The Electorate sucks. The public sucks. Fuck Hope. Carlin. The embodiment of misanthropy. And I love it. I love Carlin. I'm sure he will be quoted many times. But, yeah, like... So why, like... So what is the whole... problem? And when I'm talking about Electorate, I'm not even talking about globally. I'm just talking about us. The US of A. Like, what would be like a lot of fundamental issues? Like, there's obviously a lot of variables, but I'm just kind of curious. Let's kind of go down the list here a little bit. So, not any particular like severity or, you know, like, you know, on. Or, like, you know, or any, like, variable of how severe it is, but Americans are pretty stupid on policy. They're mostly seem to be okay with money politics. Or at least, yeah. Or at least they seem to be okay with it if it happens to be for their type of ideas or something like that. See, like, one thing I noticed about our electorate is that real issues don't seem to be a legitimate concern. And if they are, it's literally for partisan reasons. And it's pretty much like, in a sense of, hey, if you got a problem with something, you better side with a team. And call out the problems that team wants you to call out, or else, well, that will be kind of an issue. There will be some problems, because at that point, you're going against this status quo that we're kind of trying to establish. You tell people that banks and Wall Street corporations run our government, and they're happy with it. And if anything, some people will even go as far to say, we need a businessman in office. Need one. They think American healthcare system is the best in the world, and they're fine with the healthcare costs. There's another one. Another whole fundamental problem about our electorate: they vote against their own interests. So, this one is very psychological, honestly. The whole idea of going against your own interests, knowingly or not. And this one is the one that I think really irks me, like, out of all this. Because it's one thing to, on principle, just be against a certain thing because you genuinely just disagree with that idea. That's one thing. But time and time again, do I see people who, on kind of a knee-jerk gut reaction, advocate for something that, I don't know, would be a universal healthcare, something that would be for the betterment of their interests. But if you actually start discussing the major policy of it, all of a sudden, the system that they want to change is suddenly good. Human beings evolved to work together in groups. That's how we get things done. Early human hunter-gatherers are vulnerable and weak on their own without tools or small villages/tribes. People pick a team and stick to it. That's a lot of, and a lot of that is driven to our older nature. And see, this is a part of that psychological part I'm talking about, because that is an innate fact about people and in our species in general. It's a very neurocentric thing that is just been with us because it's programmed in us. It's basically pretty much literally in our DNA to be like this. And how come it is seen so much, though, at least specifically in this country compared to others, that there's these teams yet, and people try to advocate for certain issues, but literally are even against their own interests and seem to benignly not even realize what they're even supporting. And a part of that is manipulation psychology of humans being very collectivist or very, team-based, cooperative species, very social species, and a specific type of education system. And the specific type teaches obedience and discipline and to be complicit, which I don't know, I see that quite frequently everywhere. You're not supposed to think critically as the electorate. And I think that's kind of the main thing I want to talk about, which is, I think, why I have such a problem with this whole, hey, if we just all vote this one person in, everything will work out just fine. It's like, just based on my own anecdotal observations, nah. Just nah. American public education doesn't teach you how to think. It's a prison-like environment. It's meant to train you to pass SATs so you can go be a factory worker. Like, since my high school life is... Even my elementary school memories are still relatively fresh in my mind. Let's talk about them. So, I remember... Let's try to go as early as I can first. In elementary school. In recess. So, actually, before recess. Lunch. Let's talk lunch first, alright? So, our elementary school was not, like, huge, but was relatively large. About, I think, 1,000 some students. I think at most, at the peak when I was there, was 1,300 students. Like, that alone is fucking absurd for an elementary school. There was a lot of students there. And there was also a lot of classes, a lot of teachers. And honestly, with that many teachers and students, they were surprisingly, even going back there, were able to at least somewhat, handle it well. I have very pleasant memories of teachers, personally, on a more personal level. But when it came to just the more day-to-day, just broad school level stuff, like lunch, recess. Here's how lunches went. Like, I remember in 4th grade, we were all in line for lunch and shit, and I think that there was a group of kids, and they were all just talking, but they all had their arms inside their shirts, just kind of sitting there, just chilling, just waiting in line. And I'm like, you know what, I see some of my friends in there just talking and chill. I'm gonna go up there, hang out with them, do the same thing, talk with them. I was a fourth grader, basic psychological, like, hey, there's some friends and shit, let's go hang out, talk with them and stuff. I see a couple of my friends and stuff. So, literally, like, 3 seconds after I showed up, I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? An administrator comes up like, monkey see, monkey do, back of the line. Back of the line. Just doesn't, verbatim, I remember that's what the fuck he said. Monkey see, monkey do, back of the line, pointed, and just started shoving me that way. Not even, like, a reason, nothing. Just that, pointing me back. And it was just like, huh? Because even as a kid, I'm like, why? Because I had my own little thought and cut it in line, technically. And also, essentially, basically disturbed the status quo of children slowly shuffling in line. And I'm disturbing the whole, like, if you think it's very benign, but that shit's very psychological and the shit, and when it comes to these type of things. And it's just like, most teachers don't care, school personnel. Exactly. Like I said, I might have some fond memories of a lot of different teachers, but, that's only 6th grade levels. And and overall, I had 5 different teachers. 2 grade levels, I had the same teacher, and it was 2nd to 3rd grade. And I had, in elementary school years, I'd say she was the best, and I would say that my 6th grade teacher was the 2nd best, and my 5th grade teacher was the 3rd best. Actually, I would say my 4th grade out of my own elementary school was probably the worst. But the teacher himself for my 4th grade year level wasn't really bad. It's just that he's one of those people that just really didn't care. And, it shows. And at the time, I didn't really know or notice, I should suppose, because I was just a kid who was wanting to just do my own thing. See, children are very energetic. They tend to be running around wanting to do their own thing pretty much all the time. And whenever they do get taught things by adults and teachers or, guardians or their parents, on a certain level, maybe, the kid doesn't realize it, but psychologically, their brain is absorbing all that shit because they're a sponge. They're just basically a little, as a child growing up until you're at least like 14, 15 or some shit, you're just a little sponge absorbing everything. And it's just essentially just this whole, that's how they get, and I think that's just essentially how, like, a lot of the electorate today is so dumb, basically. Because they're not taught to be thinking critically of themselves, or not just themselves, but of the system, their boss, their teachers even. Because at that point, somehow it's bad if you do that. It's bad if you criticize the status quo, and bad if you, go against, the authority above you, essentially. Even if you think they're doing something wrong. So that type of mentality, especially when it's, pushed in your head growing up for 12, 13 years of fundamentally of your life, then what does that create? If only the boomer was here to lecture us about how totally okay the electorate is. I kind of wish he was here, to be honest. That's just why I wanted to talk about this, because, I kind of wish Stefan was still here, because I kind of be curious about what you have to say about these type of things. Just these more deeper philosophical and psychological principles of the electorate and just the reality of it, where they are raised to basically be complicit little drones, for better lack of words. Complicit little drones. To become essentially the negative of what a hive mind global this mentality type of thing of like, you know, all work together for corporation and leaders of higher boss authority. Instead of like, how about we all like cooperatively work together for the greater good of fucking humanity, because that helps everybody. So there's just, and I don't even think that should be even like a standard pushed on children. I think, you know, they should be encouraged to go, you know, be, you know, thinking about it on their aspirations and shit, and to think critically. That should be fundamental things. And to know and to just see so many people, practically every random stranger I fucking meet, there's not that much of a critical thinking. Even if they happen to be on the right mind, you know, have the right mindset on certain issues. That, you know, they will be like, yeah, this is kind of an issue, but we need to do, like, the thing that's causing the problem in the first place. Because they're taught, not just as a child raising up, you know, growing up, but even as an adult, that these type of ideas and these type of issues that have initially caused the problem in the first place, if tweaked around the edges, will work out just fine. Even though it's been shown time and again that it doesn't. And that these type of ideas hinder and cause more wealth and income inequality and more problems in not just the electorate, but in your overall society and your overall state of your country too. You want to know, like, I mean, pretty much, like, if you want to know why people are so divisive and such, like, being so, like, oh, I'm for Team X or Team Y. And we're cutting off a little bit. There we go. But, like, if you want to know, like, why people are for Team X or Team Y or Antifa or Proud Boy or Dem or Conservative or Republican, whatever the fuck, it's because of this mentality of you have to be bound down straight for the system. You have to be complicit within it. But it's a, you know, the thing is, the system in itself is different, though. So you get to pick, you know, different things about it. So, you know, here is your illusion of choices that you could pick out in this whole system. If you go outside of that, you're a fucking radical, unorthodox, outlying fringe. You know, so, you know, stay within this bubble. And when that type of idea gets enforced, you get a lot more of this division, a lot more of the radicalization, a lot more of the tribalization, a lot more of the violence that gets rampant up because of that. Because in a literal way, we are kind of devolving, like, in a social level. We're devolving back into just like, smash shit because fuck you! Because you want to know why? It works in the benefit of the whole established system for the electorate to be this fucking dumb and to be this fucking distracted so they can continue running away with the bags of money, you know, out into fucking the Cayman Islands or some shit because, hey, I get a little extra profit this fiscal year, so who gives a fuck? Make them more dumb, make them more aggressive, make them more volatile, and make them more addicted to opiates, and make them more susceptible to suicide. And that and nothing ever gets done. That's because that's the reason why nothing ever gets done for the most part. It's not just because of bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is there to make complaints to the people who can critically think. So then the people who can't and are complicit with all this says, oh, but then you have to go for all this bureaucracy, and so that's why you need to compromise. It's like, fuck you. No. That is, like, no. So that's, why do you think I'm so staunch in my fucking principle? Because I ain't gonna just compromise within the system just because, you know, a bunch of mammy-pambies, you know, are, you know, just alright and complicit with that idea. Fuck that. My whole point is to try to have something totally new. If it ends up the thing in itself might be slightly, you know, at the end of the day, it might be slightly tweaked around the edges and shit. At least the thing before it was totally destroyed and something anew was risen from that. That's the whole idea. And with that, well, you need a different electorate for that to happen. But we don't got that electorate, don't we? And the one thing, and the ones that honestly kind of really piss me off are the ones that have those I voted stickers thinking they, you know, are superior to people just because they thought they did something. like, oh, I voted. Now I did good. It's like, yeah, 4 more years of fucking nothing getting done. Or 8, or 6, depending. And then, or who knows how long, depending how established the fucker is. And what do we get for it? Fucking bumpkus. I didn't vote in the 2018 elections. You wanna know why? Because Kurt Schrader was gonna fucking win anyway. That shill, that blue dog, corporatist, establishment piece of shit, has the money. He's in the system. He is the fucking system. You think he's just gonna let some person try to challenge that seat? The fuck yeah, he is. What a joke to think, challenging him is gonna do any good. Same thing with any other Congress seat or state's elected seat or some shit. I mean, if we want to use a little example more closer for me, look at fucking Portland. Oh, and the whole governorships and shit like that. With the whole, like, state rounding up fucking, like, state Republicans or whatever the fuck. See, to me, I don't think that's necessarily just out of the whim that just suddenly happened. That was very orchestrated by both sides. Maybe they indirectly weren't really thinking, both of them were considering the ramifications of what their base was gonna fucking do. So, the state Republicans knew exactly what they were doing when they did that type of shit. You wanna know why? Because when they create this type of divisive shit, they could be more distracted from the real issues on hand. And guess what the real issues in Portland, for example, are at hand? Opioid crisis, a homeless crisis, a housing crisis, all these other fucking issues that, I'm probably not even, thinking of directly on top of my head that should and need to be addressed, and suddenly get washed under the rug, because the state suddenly has some crazy debacle bullshit and rallied their sides up, to fight each other. What a great electorate that we have, huh?
Really?
You hear that? Yeah. Kurt Schrader. There's no accents in his A, but yes, Kurt Schrader. That's how you spell it, though. Just without the accents in the A in Schrader. But, yeah, he's been in the 5th Congressional District in Oregon for at least 20 years. I think. I don't know. He's been in for at least more than a decade.
I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah, Like, if you legitimately have, like, a fat track record in those 10 years, that's one thing. What the fuck type of record do you have, Kurt? Oh, doing handouts to the fucking banks and the businesses and, the establishment. Gee, what a great fucking record like the rest, huh? And what does the electorate do? Just line up to the D and vote for him in. Like, yeah, not voting doesn't necessarily help, but at least I'm being intellectually honest with myself and saying, hey, I'm not gonna, try to participate because I know it doesn't help.
It really doesn't.
Especially, especially my individual one little vote. Like, oh, I didn't vote, and suddenly, like, that would have drastically changed the whole course of the election. Like, really? I hate this whole, like, mentality of, like, you didn't vote? How dare you? Like, you are just the main problem in this whole thing. It's just like, oh, what a way to be so benign and just so blind to the real fucking problems at hand. It's just like, it's pretty much like a underlying fuck you to me. It's just like, how am I, like, am I really, like, how am I supposed to take that seriously? Like, which is the whole, problem, which is why, when I'm the whole talk about this whole electorate, like, a lot of it's due to the education, how it's structured, making people more complicit in these type of things, being more complicit into this whole status quo, and, being complicit to your manager or your boss or just a politician because, oh, they're in a higher level than you, so you should trust them.
Back, I'm thinking of bed. I'm heading that away. Yeah,
Vote for Biden. It's that type of shit. Voting for these old honks like Biden, for example, thinking it's going to change anything, but it doesn't. I'm sorry to our Joe, not Joe Biden Joe, but like our Joe, but thinking that, supporting Biden and thinking that will actually ever fundamentally change anything is a fucking joke. And literally, Biden came out and literally came out quoting saying he will fundamentally change nothing. And then we're going to expect and then they expect the electorate to vote for him, which in all likelihood is his nominee. All the people who vote for D are going to do that. Not every person who votes D will, because some people try to vote like a little bit more of a principled stance, even though they're still naively kind of doing that shit. But it's just like it ain't gonna do. It's just them, continuously, psychologically manipulating this whole electorate and just the rest of this fucking country in that way. That's where I have. Now you're thinking with Down syndrome. What? Because I'm stuttering or something? That's for enjoyment vote logic. Oh, yeah. I see what you mean. It's just... I guess somebody who really thinks very skeptically and critically of authority in these things, in these type of things, it just boggles my mind. It really does boggle my mind in a lot of ways. I just kind of want to hear what Paul says more about it. Oh.
Drug bust! Drug bust!
Get on the ground! You and Nick are gonna do the weed no more!
Hey, so, question for y'all.
Yeah?
How do you all feel about the American electorate?
I have no fucking clue what it is.
Pretty much the voters.
I think I can go fuck off and die. Our votes don't fucking matter anyway. Only the fucking rich people.
What kind of votes, though? Like, what do they vote for mostly?
It's the American electorate. People participate in that voting process, stuff like that.
I'm ambivalent about it.
I think it's a waste of time because our votes don't matter.
Half of them want the shit that we want, so I'll like them. But, the other half, I want to just send to Auschwitz.
God damn it.
Oh my god, he not even 30 seconds in, you already go to the fucking Auschwitz. Jesus.
I'm a fucking edgelord piece of shit, I have to. I am obligated to.
Oh god. Tyler, do it.
Moderately regulated.
Tyler, do it.
Even
now,
not,
now, Tyler, do it.
He's not even saying he's the lesser of two evils, he generally likes and trusts him. Joe Malloy does. Good luck staying on Ignarism topic. Oh, don't worry, I am. I'll keep this shit on topic.
Can you give me one of those chairs?
No, sir, because you got a booty call, boy.
Fine.
We're sitting here for a moment, leaving me. Anyway.
I don't know if you actually have a girly meeting at the bar.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, but this stream I kind of had an agenda in mind. We just been talking about the electorate.
Do it. Do it. Just do it.
Fuck. Okay. So, me and Harley, when we were walking, he pretended he was in a van.
Dude, he was looking hell slow.
Cruising right behind me, I mean, he's just like, "Hey, boy, man, I got candy in here." I'm just like, "Oh yeah, really? My mama told me I'm not supposed to talk to
That's a good metaphor to the American electorate. Honestly, you get a bunch because you get a bunch of these, because you have it. Because I just already kind of went into it, but I'll go kind of rehash it, quicker. But basically, you have this system that's in place that is and a lot of this, if it applies into our education system too, where it's
Our
a lot of
education system sucks
it's a
anyway.
lot of well, hold on. It's because there's a lot of psychological play into it, as much as people probably don't even realize.
That would make sense.
Because what do you think? Like, what do you think? The most pinnacle moment for somebody to be taught, about, how to, be ready for society and ready to grow up in the world type of thing. What is the pinnacle years for doing that? Elementary, middle, high school. Those 3 years. And what now? Since it's also fresh in our minds, what is one thing that you can kind of pick out that you would think would be very, trying to instill a discipline or still like this complicity or like obedience type of thing?
Like one thing I guess is like time punctuality, like getting up early, kind of.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that.
Like getting used to like the 9 to 5 drag, essentially.
Yep, and also one thing I noticed is, I don't know if this happened in your elementary schools or middle schools, but this happened for me. So right before lunch, they would have lines up for lunches and lined up and stuff. And I actually remember specifically in 4th grade this. They would make sure that no kid was cutting or whatever the fuck, make sure they weren't being disorderly or whatever. So there was a group of kids, some of my friends were in it, they were talking to each other in a little circle, but they had their arms inside their shirts or whatever. So I'm like, oh, well, I'll talk to some of my friends over there, talk to some of the other dudes over there too, whatever, and join them in whatever they're doing. So I put my hands in my arms in my shirts or whatever and go up there and talk to them. Not even 3 fucking seconds, some random person, and I even remember verbatim what the fuck the dude said. Monkey see, monkey do, go to the back of the line and start shoving me over to...
What the fuck what?
Yeah.
Just because you were doing that?
You want to know why? And you want to know how I, now that I'm thinking about it, is because I went against this orderly system that was meant to be
a fucking douche. I hope he got a cap popped in his ass. Like fucking...
God damn it.
I don't know who it was or care at this point, but, that's another thing. And also during recess, and this is one thing I noticed during recess, is they would usually end it a couple minutes early to do this one thing. They would have somebody out and be like, all right, everyone line up. And you would have to line up in your specific class. And they will not let anybody in, and they will not let anyone talk. You had to be silent and be up in line and stuff.
What the fuck?
Yeah. You just have to when you look back at the psychological play into into how the education system is structured, you realize, oh, this is their subtle way. This is a subtle way to make me more complicit at a low shit wage job at like a fast food place or like a grocery store or at a factory job.
To obey authority, essentially.
Yep.
To be obedient.
And to continue the repetition. Why do you think school was 5 days a week? To continue that 40-hour regimen of repetition. Yeah. That's another thing. Because, especially if you're a child growing up, you have a lot of energy. So when you're sitting in an area for like 3 hours at a time before you even have like a little recess break or some shit, and that, might be 20 minutes, and then you might have another 2 hours before lunch, and then, then you have another like 2 or 3 hours before school ends.
Yeah.
And, from there, it's like kids have so much built up energy, and when they get sent back home and stuff, then the parents have to deal with all this pent up energy from the kids. And then, sometimes parents aren't always, the greatest, being parents, trying to raise their kids. So sometimes they're just chaotic, doing whatever, or they, growing up in the same type of structure, use that same type of, discipline and obedience to keep them all, coached in. I mean, that's probably why ADHD is on the rise. That's why kids are being prescribed amphetamines and stuff to kind of keep them more,
That's just going to turn them to fucking drug addicts, though. They're just going to turn tweakers and just be, it's going to cause more tweakers out in the fucking streets, more homeless people, for sure, more drug addicts. Because, like when you're prescribing kids if they have autism or ADHD.
Hey, Stefan's back.
That's going to fucking cause that shit.
Hey, Stefan, we're actually now in our Ignarism discussing an electorate, and I have to ask, what do you feel about the electorate? The American electorate overall. In my high school, you had to wear an ID on the lanyard at all times. If you didn't have it, you got suspended, and they sold replacements for $15 when they were just cheap plastic. I was prescribed methamphetamines for ADHD as 8 years old. Point exactly. Right there. Yeah, and I mean, we have friends.
And so was I. So, and your point is?
It's fucked up. They shouldn't do that.
Yeah, because all that kid is just pent up energy when that kid should probably go ride a bike outside. And also, this goes on a more broader point. This is on a broader point, but when you think about, screens and technology of computers, Xbox, shit like this, console gaming, phones, when, and that also hinders their social, communication and shit. I mean, why do you think these are so why do you think phones are so mass produced on such a cheap level? And, and just sold pretty much en masse, and, also are cheaply able to be broken into, so they have to get replaced very frequently and shit.
That's also because of planned obsolescence. That's a money-making scheme.
And also, and there's also family plans, so you get your kids on a phone, too. When children growing up probably shouldn't even have a phone until they're, like, fucking 15. I didn't have my first phone until I was in 8th grade, and even then, And I actually remember in middle school, having a phone. They had a very strict anti-phone policy. And you know what? Looking back at it, this is one of the few things which I think was actually okay. And because of the psychological, social consequences of growing up with this type of technology as a kid. Because this is something that we are, this is something new to humanity, like this type of stuff. So we don't even really truly know how it's going to affect us on the long term either. And short term now, we're already seeing some negative effects.
Yeah, because we don't talk to each other. You're at work, and then you go on breaks.
Yeah,
you don't talk to people. First thing you do is turn on the phone.
Yeah, when I'm on my lunch, I'm trying to, usually I'm just listening. Usually, when I'm on my lunch, I come here and watch usually a video 20 minutes long or whatever, or listen to something.
It's to make any friends in that kind of environment.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. It's almost discouraged in the workplace to make friends.
Yeah, and you want to know another
conflict of interest.
Yeah, you also want to know what's another thing that's discouraged is talking about the conditions at the workplace of other workers. So it's basically like, don't talk with the workers. You're just all there to do this one certain task. So just do it. So it's like that's why unions are basically gutted to the point they don't really have that much of a strength, and even when they are
not like they used to.
Yeah, and even when they are able to try to do shit, because my union's doing a strike and stuff, it ends up fucking us anyway because while our strike's going on, all of our benefits are going to be revoked. All of them, like health benefits, all that shit.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just like not that it means that much for me personally, but knowing how that affects other people, that and having a principle of I think everyone should be have some fair treatment, especially in the workplace. That is a fucking issue for me. So even this whole strike that we're doing doesn't even actually solve anything. Basically, it's another way of using the electorate to basically hey, let's use something and we're gonna fuck you anyway, while we're doing it.
Of course, at least just a little bit over half of people in the electorate actually want universal health care, and they want universal education.
If you trust some of the recent polls, it's about 70% now at this point.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
70%
of Americans. Just Americans at this point.
Then 70% of what?
Americans just across the board, Democrat, Republican, etc. Overall, in total of who support a universal / single payer / socialized medicine type of system. It just depending how you name it or phrase it, the overall support.
Like Oregon.
I mean, because the way this Oregon system is partially based on, the government helping out with that a little bit, the Oregon Health Plan.
Right.
But it's the main reason why is because it's partially a public option as far as I'm aware of. I don't know all the specific
about it. See, your mother was on the Oregon Health Plan first, and then she went to Medicare, so she has Medicare Plus. That gives ability to in assisted living place. Me, I had Medicare for I moved from Texas, so I could not get on the Oregon Health Plan.
Yeah, and this also leads to another thing, like why
why federal?
Well, a part of that is it's another thing to just add up a debt So it keeps you more in control and it keeps you more in line.
Price gouges.
Yeah. It's one of the things. There's also this was recently in '08 with the subprime mortgage crisis and the great housing recession and shit. That was another thing, with the mortgages and stuff, make them like these, falsified, AAA good, plans or whatever, get a home or whatever, and shit, a bubble popped in, you're evicted and, you're fucked, don't have any more money because I had to bail out. Sorry, bye-bye, you're kind of screwed.
Well, see, when I go to my doctor, she's basically a doctor that basically registers you up to other people. And, and then actually, each time you go to them, other people, $35 a whack. I mean, I have carpal tunnel, I have each of them body and everything else. But I mean, fuck, I'm 66, so I don't care.
Yeah, and that creates, and that's a part of the problem with the whole electorate now at this point is that many of them.
We can't cover you because you have a pre-existing condition.
Sorry,
that bullshit, dude. You know the dark matter video.
Oh yeah.
I shouldn't talk about it.
Well, whatever. It's whatever. But I mean, what do you think, Harlan? I mean, there's a lot of things that are related.
He's texting his booty call.
His booty call.
Yeah, he's got a booty call.
I mean, like.
Fucking call her booty call.
I mean, like. What are you could just for you, at work and shit, like, any comparison, and like how treatment is and everything.
Hey, you're not texting me and go, what's RRN?
I'll see what the chat's saying.
BBH.
Let's see here.
Let me look it up.
So here, while you guys are doing that, I'm going to reach out real quick. Americans are stupid, like far dumber than the people of other developed nations.
Oh, really?
Because that's designed that way, which is part of the reason why I'm talking about this whole issue. I blame a failing education system, the politicization of science and religious fundamentalism. American public education is becoming more geared towards female student behavior, not enough time for boys to run around outside and have fun. That's why everyone needs to be sedated. Like any kid, I mean, honestly, not the problem at all. The problem is they're teaching to exams, not everyone's potential. Disagrees fine. Not everyone is good at exams. The dumb folks can't seem to comprehend that. I agree with your second point. It's all about passing the SAT. Exactly. Like, that was a whole big thing, like, in high school, was the SAT shit and the ACT.
I didn't even take the fucking SATs. You know what I said about the SATs? I'm like, guess what? Fuck your SATs! I just ripped the fucking shreds.
Did you?
I left the fucking class.
Seriously?
Yeah. Only like the PSAT, I was just like, fine, I'll take this anyway. I don't think I did well.
Oh yeah, like the
That
pre
shit's
one.
Timed, It's all just. That's what I hate. They teach.
Dude,
you
I fell asleep in the math
make
portion
it
of the
through
SAT.
Exams.
The SAT, like the actual one, I legitimately fell asleep for the math portion. I'm not even fucking kidding.
I'm bummed down on when I did math.
Dude, my math was abysmal. Everything else was mediocre.
Because, like, they never, like, so early on when they teach you math, all they do is basic, they teach you basic arithmetic. As a kid, that's not fucking interesting to you.
And it also, the thing is, some brains aren't really akin towards mathematics or akin towards other capabilities.
Those brains, they need something to apply to the mathematics in
Or
order to
that as well.
incentivize them to learn mathematics.
That as well. I mean, there's, some people are just bad at math, some people aren't.
Geometry, algebra I was good at, but geometry...
I was okay at algebra.
I agree, there's too much busy work, if that's what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, there's too much busy work, and that's the thing. There's, like, all this paperwork. You don't want to do that as a kid. You want to run around as a kid. You want to play an instrument. Or you want to play a fucking video game. Or fuck your girlfriend. You could spend all your time doing that shit.
Video games.
Oh yeah, even then
they had the arcade around some point.
Even then,
eventually.
Well, I mean, like that's even longer ago. Like even then, it's like you could learn to play a fucking musical instrument.
I played the viola.
Yeah, see, like that's fun. Something like that is fun. Doing math homework is not fun. Like fuck math homework.
I never did my homework.
Me neither.
I didn't either.
I only did half of my homework.
Honestly,
I graduated with a shitty 2.5 GPA because I didn't give a fuck.
I don't know what I had.
I mean, like, I honestly, like, the only pretty much the main reason why I graduated was just basically because a few teachers actually cared about me, which gave me a feeling of I should give a fuck. That was about it. Because I still don't even really generally, like, know what specific, like, inherent, like, or not even inherent, it's just like what specific, thing I should be, doing, right now. Because it's like, there was nothing there for that, you know, to be tapped into. Like, I'm having to struggle to do that basically on my own, which isn't a bad thing. If anything, it's probably, you know, if anything, it's probably better for just personal self-development, you know, just on my own merit in that sense. But, like, if it comes to, you know, this current structure and shit and having to try to survive in it, and it,
These
like...
are the kinds of people that belong in Auschwitz.
Goddamn time.
Jack Dorsey, my God.
Like, people like this, they need to be fucking gassed or put in an oven.
Oh, my
Well,
God.
Too many homosexual activities on television. As the governor it's Alabama. It just says Alabama Republican. As the congressman or governor or senator of Alabama.
That also shows that they're losing because they got no fucking substance over that shit. And the thing is, that is another psychological play of the manipulation of the electorate, because they're using a non-fucking issue. Yeah. So instead of actually trying to, people, you know, not to toot a Bernie horn, you know, here, but instead of actually trying to call out, you know, instead of trying to call out specific issues for even Republicans to fucking agree with and unify on, you know, you're being, that type of shit is undermined and twisted around as the bad thing to happen, and then use all these other divisive issues to go, you know, just to create more, division, so they could just continue the status quo. You know, this is essentially just a more manipulation of the whole electorate. And I think it's inside. And just using that, in a sense, to just control the narrative. Like, that's just... And it's just something that continues to happen. And honestly, just will.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, one of the things is, like, you know, when they psychologically try to manipulate the voters, it's because they know that the voters... It's because they know that the voters in that area are predominantly Christian. It's the Bible Belt. That's why they call it the fucking Bible Belt. So when they try to take on a subject religiously, they're trying to whore themselves, ironically enough, for voters. You know, they're trying to say, well, God.
Because they're playing to their base.
Oh, God, yeah, he likes God. He likes God.
And when people grow up in an education system, especially, and you want to know something? Especially an education system that has private religious schools and religious college and universities as well.
See, I think
you want to know something? Just to, you know, not to get...
I want to get something off the bat here. We should regulate private schools to where...
I don't even think they should be allowed. I don't want them allowed.
No. That is allowed because this is a capitalist economy. That could be allowed.
And that's the problem with that.
No. Okay. Blue states have regulated private companies. They have more regulation than red states. So
companies different than universities. Education shouldn't be privatized.
No, I'm not.
Well, I mean, like,
private schools can still exist, but we need a public option. Now, like all the major
fuck private schools.
All the major. If somebody wants to pay for a private school, that's their right. But I think people have a right to a public option. See, we need, so Harvard, yes, I agree. That should actually be public. You know, community colleges, that should be public. Tuition free. All the biggest colleges out there, tuition free. The only thing that it should require... trade schools should also be public.
Okay.
If anything, that should be the first thing that's public.
Okay.
It
was left out, so I want to...
What I want to do is, one...
We lost a mutt.
We lost the dog. I'm not sure where he is.
What?
Oh, Bear. Here, you keep ranting. So I probably know where he is.
Thing is... okay. I don't necessarily think that all private schools should be banned. I think that private schools should be regulated to where they're not allowed to have any religious affiliation whatsoever. Nothing that's educational should have any religious affiliation. Anything that's religious, anything that's educational should be separated. Separate that shit. Like, if it's religious, it's a church. It's a church, and also churches should be fucking taxed.
I thought you had a booty call.
To be paid for that. Well, I mean, that place is, like, fucking open until, like, 2.
You sure the chick's gonna be there at 2?
Yeah. Like, this is a person who drinks a fuck ton before she goes home. But yeah, that's what I think. if idiots or like, you know, a bunch of
put that in the
rich
freezer.
douchebags want to... This is not yours, though.
Put it in the freezer, though.
You could ask him first.
Put it in the freezer. Just don't worry about putting it in
I'm
the
not
freezer.
going to do that yet. Ask him.
Oh, you pussy. My Jack Carter. Shut up. Move out of the way, fast.
Fine.
Remind me to leave that in there before you leave. Holy shit.
That's what I think.
There's Snapple tea in here. That Jack is Snapple
The
tea.
best conveyors of atheism are religious fundamentalists. So true. Most schools are public. All state universities are a public option.
Really?
Harvard is private. Harvard shouldn't be private.
Why is it private?
A liberal version of Fox.
I don't know, dude.
Okay, fine.
Going
Actually,
back to the
I would
ADHD
agree.
thing, though. Honestly, ADHD pills did make me a drug addict. I had withdrawal system.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I changed my mind. Yes, do ban religious K through 12 private schools.
Wait, were you initially advocating that?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Like, ban religious K through 12 private schools. You know what? You're right.
Why?
Because there's no... Well, he actually gave a really good answer. No more indoctrination. No more indoctrinating kids.
Yeah. Pretty simple, yeah.
That would stop the indoctrination. Of course, wait, though. There's a problem. Wouldn't that contradict the First Amendment, though?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, would it, though? Because, I mean, I could see reasons why it wouldn't. Because, I mean, you know, you still have a right to be a religious institution. But would it technically, like, infringe on the child's First Amendment right, then? I don't know. That's my only question, though. How would you answer that? So, I mean, at the same time, it's like, I hate religion, yes. But I think, like, what we need to do is... We need to take on religion in the most legal and the most level-headed way possible. I think one of the things we could start doing is by taxing churches. Like, we just need to tax churches. You know, like, Scientology shouldn't be tax exempt anymore.
Is it not tax exempt? It should be.
No. Tax exempt means that they get away with not paying taxes.
Oh, they should totally pay taxes. Fuck them.
Yeah, so they shouldn't be tax exempt then.
They're assholes. They shouldn't pay taxes.
I don't know, because there was a law that said that, you know, churches can get away with not paying taxes.
Yeah, they're tax exempt.
They're like, that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah,
there
that
needs
should
to be an amendment that is, like, fucking burned into the Constitution. Like, printed there, so it's never removed. You know, where you shouldn't, like, they shouldn't be tax exempt. Lift the exemptions from tax from any church. Once you're a church, you're paying. Because, you know, the churches,
Hold up.
they always talk about taking care of the sick and needy.
Don't the children have freedom of religion also? They don't even have a concept of what that is. When they're adults, they can decide that. Scientology organization should be shut down for human rights abuse, holding people prisoners inside their camps, facilities. Yeah.
Well, then, yeah, legislate a federal law then to actually. I guess I could see your argument. Yeah, I guess like private religious private schools would actually infringe on a freedom, you know, like a child's freedom of religion. Then
yes.
Like
especially homeschooling. Like, where's the fucking, you know, freedom of that child to have a proper education?
Okay, here's the thing: homeschooling. I don't think that homeschooling should be disallowed. I think that homeschooling
it needs to be heavily regulated at the very least.
It needs to be heavily regulated and meet a set of standards that, like, children are. Or
at least have
the children's parents.
I think there should also at least be
as a teacher. They should take a course.
Well, there should also be like a actual professional, you know, during these times of like homeschooling, like at all times, essentially.
Well, yeah, but like, here's the thing. I think what should be done is the parents should take a class on teaching, on how to properly teach children in a non-coercive, and also in a way that doesn't spoil the children either.
Let's see him around yet.
Huh?
I didn't see him around, so I don't know. Oh yeah, I'll try to figure that out in a second here. Children in school don't even have rights to begin with. They don't. They have privileges. That's it. Controlled environment.
They should, though.
That's the problem.
We need to fucking change that.
Hence why, like, privatized schooling is kind of an issue, because if, the school itself has free reign to kind of do what they wish.
We have a country. We have a fucking country that's built on free speech, on people, if you could prove that you were born here, you're a citizen, for one thing. Of course, that didn't come until, 1865. We have a system built on all of these values.
That doesn't hold itself in the first place, so I don't even think it really holds up to those values.
It should hold, everything should hold up to these values. The whole fucking country should.
They don't.
But they should, because those are the laws of the fucking land. And that's how the founding fathers intended it to be.
Damn, y'all still hanging out?
And I think if private companies and schools don't conform or don't fucking abide by those laws, we should put the boots down and we should shut them down.
Well, yeah. Also, there needs to be strict sets of what can be a university, so fucking PragerU can't be a thing.
Whoa. According to Kyle Kalinske, Biden care would lead to 125,000 deaths from a lack of coverage.
Yeah, I heard about that. I know. Because Biden is, again, another one of these psychological manipulators who controls the electorate. One thing I hate about the electorate, you have a preface every argument of 10 minutes of caveats in order to have a conversation, and you still get hit with the hashtag not all retards. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, you can talk very extensively about an issue, and then, then people will be like, trigger word on something I heard in there, that. Private companies exist to make a profit. They should not be involved in basic public service at all. Agreed.
Yeah, I agree.
That's why,
especially not healthcare.
Especially not education either.
I rephrase that.
Those are two things that
they should have a right to have a public option, but everybody should have if somebody wants to be an idiot and pay for if it's electoral procedures, I think that's fine. If it's plastic surgery, I don't want my tax dollars paying for plastic surgery, but for a kid,
I think people understand what I think people get
a pulmonary embolism. That I want.
I think when people talk about universal healthcare, they aren't talking about who can have a plastic surgery boob job. I think they're talking about the fucking.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
there are elective people who strawman that though. There are people who make strawman.
Well, they're fucking retards. And
yeah, they're retarded. But I always put that across because there are assholes out there that'll make a strawman, like my dad, for instance.
And the thing
politically
is,
and religiously, fuck him, because he's like, you can only trust the conservative Christians. The fuck? Those are the last people you should ever trust.
Wow, what a fascistic thing to say,
I'd
just
sooner
to be
put
blunt.
them in fucking cattle cars.
Oh my god. But
I hate him that much, but I can't
go back
do
to
that
bed, America. Go back to bed.
principles.
Universal health care should apply to all medically necessary procedures, treatments, etc.
Yeah, it should.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah. It shouldn't be a fucking hard issue. But again, the reason why we don't have it, and probably won't for a while, unless, by some crazy fucking miracle Bernie wins and somehow gets that shit implemented, that type of shit, is not going to happen. This country is complicit in not having a universal healthcare system, not have a proper education system, not, fixing the infrastructure, and not, actually switching into renewable energies and trying to fix, this for fossil fuel profit bullshit system that we have. These issues that plague our country are purposely, consistently getting worse because it's built that way. And the electorate being dumbed down is just another part of that.
I think the electorate, though, and
how would Bernie fix the education? He hasn't even mentioned it. I'm not saying he would, and I don't think he will.
He does want tuition-free college, so
yeah,
that's one way to fix it.
That's not really,
but not K
and
12,
it's not
though.
necessarily fixing it, but it helps out.
K through 12 is the most pivotal thing about the education system.
Well, yeah, of course. That's what I was getting into. I support Bernie, but I don't think he is some sort of genie. He isn't. And if people think he is, they're fucking naive.
Let's see, I mean, it's almost midnight. I should probably head over there.
All right.
Hey, I better watch my...
Getting hardcore in these super philosophical discussions about this stuff.
But yeah, I think you're right. The religious private schools should just be fucking banned.
No, yeah, well, yeah. Very spineless. I mean, he needs to fucking go for the jugular on these issues. He should actually, for someone who's been in the system for as long as he has, he should understand how it works. He should manipulate the manipulation of the system and use
taxing churches. That should be a law.
The fact that tax exemptions for churches were a thing in the first... The fact that those were there in the first place is fucking ridiculous.
It is. Because it only gives churches more power, especially in the United States.
Yeah. Should free college apply to ridiculous degrees of no merit like interpretive, postmodern, queer, dance theory? Wait, is that really a fucking thing? Christian theological studies? I know that's a thing, and that's always been a thing.
It's disgusting.
And it's stupid, and they should be disregarded.
Theological studies.
Those are not degrees. Those are fucking papers
studies.
that you should probably recycle to save the earth a little bit, you dumb fuck.
Yeah.
How would Bernie know how the cave through 12 system works? He's not a teacher. Doesn't specialize in education at all. I don't even think he would fix the education system. I don't think he would at all, honestly.
Who's claiming to?
Nobody. I mean, Bernie hasn't really come out with any specific issues on education besides a couple of things, a few mild basics. He's been a veteran and healthcare committees in the Senate. Hence why that might be one of the few little nuggets we'll be able to get. In my city, Greenville, South Carolina, there's a religious university called Bob Jones, like a Muslim country woman having to wear scarves and go on dates and school chaperone present, make sure there's no sex.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Rephrase
that.
In my city, Greenville, South Carolina, there's a religious university called Bob Jones, like a Muslim country women have to wear scarves and go on dates with a school chaperone present to make sure there's no sex.
What the fuck?
Yeah, wow. What a great, thriving fucking...
That's happening nowadays in 2019.
Yep. Yeah, what a great, modern society we have built ourselves, huh? Hell, I have no idea how to fix the education system would be implemented. I just have a vague idea what the problems
I want
are.
it to be more vocationally driven.
Me neither.
Start, though.
Me neither. I know about certain issues, and...
I'll be heading out.
Alright.
I'll see you around.
Alright, peace out, man. Look up Bob Jones. It's notorious, most conservative Christian university and public school / kindergarten thing in America. Damn, that's just to teach daycare through university. The fact that is a thing should be honestly abolished and outlawed. They should be shut down, all their assets seized, and funded into better things. But the Electorate is too stupid to realize that, so nothing will get done. And they will continue to do their manipulative, fallacious con man scheme. As I said, religious fundamentalists are the greatest proponents of atheists. Hey, as an atheist, I already know this, dude. They treat themselves like a persecuted minority when the real persecuted minority is us. So they can just fuck right off of that stupid shit. So I definitely know. I'll say they have a nice art museum, mostly religious art. They should be putting a real goddamn museum outside the Magic Asylum. Yeah, I don't. I would love to go to a real museum that has some... I've been to, in Iceland, there's museums that has, I've been to the Erik Jonsson Museum in Iceland, and there's religious work as much as secular work. And the religious work was just as beautiful as the non-religious artwork that was made by this guy. And, it was very... it's just because at the end of the day, I have appreciation for art, because I don't give a fuck about the religious aspect. But overall, still really cool. But, that's because it's in a real goddamn museum and not some crazy hokey-pokey fucking fairy tale magic asylum. Reading through the Quran and Shira by Muhammad for a second time, maybe an atheist. It didn't really take me reading through the Bible to become it. I just thought about it and realized...
Where'd the old Tatler go?
Booty call.
Did he leave?
Yeah.
Didn't even say goodbye, fat ass.
You were kind of out there for a second.
I was not.
You were too, you little faggot.
I was not.
You were too, you little faggot.
Was not.
You were too, you little faggot.
Was not, dipshit.
That's why you were like that for like a good 10 minutes.
Collecting my thoughts.
Would you like to share those thoughts? The thoughts of the thoughts. I'm sure there's a thought or two, you know, about what you're overhearing. I'm sure there is in there somewhere. I'm sure you got one or two you want to pop out.
Nope.
No? Yeah. Damn, but a good hour or 20 minutes, you know. I mean, I don't know, it's like, is there anything else we could talk about this whole problem about the Electorate show? I had a pretty good full fucking hour about it. Good juicy one. Not gonna wrap it up, but I guess for the Ignarism second, possibly. Though of hell for me too. My parents never did believe in hell. I was terrified of it still. Oh, yeah, like, honestly, like, growing up, another part of the whole psychological manipulation is sometimes for the parents, too. You know, as much as I love my mom and dad, well, mostly my mom, I guess, for this case, I mean, she is a Christian. Evangelical. I'm just through and through. She just is. And she went to a fucking Bible college, all this shit. Like, she went to one of those fucking scam artist religious universities. And, you know, try to instill that same shit in me. And, you know, for Tyler's credit, Christianity, as much as all religion, has the very same mentality. Discipline, obedience, and complicity into whatever the institute and whatever the religious head deems, you know, acceptable and non-acceptable. So, you know, growing up for that, like, pretty much in every facet growing up, I always had this back of my mind, like, growing up, like, there was something about me that, you know, always had a back of my mind thing of, like, question that. You know, like, question that, you know, wonder if that's really the case type of thing. Like, I always had this strange back of my mind thing about this type of shit. You know, and I was just like, weird. You know, I was always just kind of like Christian in name only, just because I didn't really even fucking believe it. I never really did, honestly. I can't really think of a time I legit, like, even the whole, like, let's sit around the table and pray before we eat. They try to pressure me to do, my family at least, try to pressure me to do that type of stuff. What the fuck, I'm doing that. Just recently, they tried to, when I was out with some of my family from, who came up from Texas, they tried doing that. I just sat there and waited for them to just be done, because it was just, to me, personally embarrassing. I found it as an embarrassment, but to them, they think they're doing something, you know, good because some authority figure is watching over them and they should do good, you know, or else they're going to get cracked down on. Fuck Christ. Agreed. The internet helps kill religion. It definitely does. And it's a slow burn, but it's going. It's a slow but sure burn. Oh, it's not even plugged in. Is this charged? Ah, shit. Now we'll give it a shot. Anytime, I suppose. This one. Oh, come on. This one's always a little tight. There we go. Not being indoctrinated helps also. That too. Because Stefan grew up not being in a religious household, so he just never was indoctrinated in the first place. So, lucky you. There's at least one less finger of control, being pushed on you. It helps decimate forbidden knowledge that gives people doubt of it. It is doing to Islamic world what the printing press did to your Christ. Yep. Being able to look at some of the ridiculous stuff in the Bible and ask, how is this any different than Greek mythology? It isn't. If anything, it probably stole some shit out of it. Not yet.
I drove down there to the King. Yep, my friend.
I mean, I don't think he went down that far.
Hey, Harley.
Oh, shit.
And you're dropping your phone.
Yeah, I am.
We need to search for him.
Yeah.
Freaking Tyler's booty call.
Aye.
That boy's gonna get hep C, man. I'm gonna tell you what.
See? Isn't that the one that, 98% of people, get?
Yeah. It's common.
Well, then he probably already had it to begin with. If he's sharing bowls with people, just being born. That one is just pretty much natural to people at this point. It's like, the random bacteria that are in your gut. I doubt he really went that far, but we'll definitely keep looking for him, though. Growing up under, at first it makes you see how fucked up it is. Going every week. Yeah.
I walked down to Carol's while ago.
I mean, he was with us up until y'all showed up, so I think he probably just kind of snuck out either the back door or for the
Probably the back door.
Yeah.
Dead.
I heard a few rumblings in that, far corner, so maybe he might just be chilling in there or something, I don't know, but I feel like he's probably up and down the block somewhere.
You bring the light.
Oh yeah, I'm have the other one charged, so if that one goes out, then the other one will be charged
He
up.
might be stuck in the fence or something.
Well, hopefully not. I doubt he is.
I can find it.
Well, they still help from AIDS.
I didn't see anything run over or anything. So. Maybe it knows he's home, but
Lol. We could have landed humans on Mars with all the money that we wasted on Iran war, and Trump could be best buddies with Saddam Hussein too. Huh? What? I'm pretty confused with that quote. They are already atheistic in regards to every religious deity, not just their own, to hold back the skepticism of their own. Yeah. In a way. Once you open it up, that door comes ever more truthful. Just a random funny quote off I found. Trump tends to get along well with dictators. The United States tends to get along well with dictators. This is the statistic. I don't know how old it is at this point, but it is said that the U.S. supports 73% of the world's dictatorships around the world. So, it just happens that the other 27% we just don't like. Obama never met Kimmy. One of the 27% we didn't like, so it bumped up probably 2%. And even then, I wish he did make Kimmy in the first place. Saddam kept Negus in line like Tito. When a kite string pops, it breaks. Yep. When you break the stability in a region, you get a lot of that of the power vacuum, and that's what happens.
You said you had another light?
Yeah, it started right the quarter, by the door.
How long have you been charging the battery?
Just for a little bit. And that one just died. So.
Shit.
Well, Trump is way closer to society than Obama was. Well, very much so. It still doesn't make a difference to me. Saudi's like the Israel 2.0 for Trump. Saudi's been Israel 2.0 for all of our administrations since its existence. So, your point? Religion allows normal people to behave by the billions of things that would make it insane otherwise on their own. Yep. Hence why they are like, if God was at will, then we could just go murder and rape everyone we want. No, that's not what it fucking means, you dumbasses. Obama's not nearly as down with the Saudis. More so than you might think, honestly. There are oil butt buddies. We give them money and investments pretty much on daily. Is keeping with him because of the military-industrial complex, which he was complicit in investing in and donations from and lobbied with. So he was very much okay with that and in favor for. So I don't see the point being made. He wasn't as down with them. Still was. If you think that saying a few Latin words over your pancakes will metaphysically transmit them into a body of Elvis Presley, you lost your mind. If you think the same thing about Jesus in a cracker, you're just a Catholic. Obama was a Saudi bitch. No excuse. Yeah, there is an excuse. Obama's foreign policy was really strange. Probably because he really didn't have any actual principle, foreign policy-wise, really.
No charges.
Besides the Iran nuclear deal, which is one of the few things that was good. But overall, he was very complicit with the military-industrial complex. He went into 2 wars to 7. I mean, do I have to go down that list?
Stealing your dad's charger, ran it, maybe.
Stealing dad's charger.
Damn it! It's fucking charger thing's too big. Bitch.
It was all pro-Israel, but hated the Netanyahu administration.
Ski you up.
So he hated the administration, but also supported the administration. What an oxymoron!
It's an oxymoron, bitch. Damn, there's no charger in here.
Yeah, you want to use mine for a bit?
There, charger up.
Mine's actually not doing too bad.
Charger up, bitch. Oh, that's right, I stole it. Pace, motherfucker, move. I got a message.
No, I think that was just a sound of the charger notification.
God damn it. I'm so tired I can't even do my own password.
Damn, son.
Yeah, shut up, bitch. I know I care about you. Going in the haunted room.
Take a nap or something? What are you doing? Why you leave me?
Pace, there's a guitar in here. What the fuck? Yeah.
No, he he favored the general Israeli interests, which Netanyahu is a part of. No, but still sold arms for genocide. And both are an excuse, but I'd say supporting their genocide is worse than having them launder hotel money. Yeah, I completely disagree with Netanyahu's approach to the Palestinians, which is also the general Israeli interest, of what they want to do. Again, both are inexcusable, so I don't want to hear, but what about the hotels? It's bad. You don't need to tell me. I know it's bad. Yeah. By all accounts, now and Obama did not get along. Just because they didn't get along on a personal level doesn't mean that they still did good business with each other. Like, unlike Trump, you know, just because Obama doesn't get along with someone doesn't mean, you know, he just rages out and does fire and fury.
Yes, it does.
I'm saying that Trump has made it worse with Saudi. Which is still inexcusable. Like, literally every administration that keeps moving forward, the Clinton, the Bush, the Obama, the Trump, it gets worse.
No, it doesn't.
Netanyahu openly endorsed Trump. He named a settlement after Trump. Like, of course he fucking endorses Trump. Because Trump is openly, like, was totally okay with him. Even though he's obviously, you know, by all accounts, you know, slowly kind of making himself a little mini dictator and for all intents and purposes, in my opinion. Like, what a vibrant democracy. Like, you know, literally doing apartheid and, like, annexing and occupying lands. Like Syria, Palestine, you know, Lebanon probably. You know, like all these little countries and neighbors around it, and they wonder why they hate them so fucking much. Well, they keep fucking invading and wanting to conquer them. Gee, and you wonder why there's conflict. Maybe we should look at what the, you know, enemies think, you know, why they hate them so much. Oh, they want to conquer and take over all their land and, you know, their sovereignty and shit? Gee, what a totally unreasonable thing to be hateful for. Hey, you know, to hate your, you know, enemy for. Netanyahu, Bolsonaro, and one are like the three furthest right world leaders right now. I don't disagree with you. I mean, if you want to tap in religious far-right fundamentalists, I mean, add Saudi king or prince or whoever the fuck leads that dumbass theocracy, monarchist, nonsense, bullshit state. And Iran, too, even. The tribalism situation of Israel, Palestine is still bad and needs to end. Oh, yeah, very much so. It does. Like, I mean, I'm not saying, like, what, you know, the retaliation of, like, you know, terrorist organizations of the opposing side or whatever is excusable. Or for tribalism or not, or for globalism or not. Yeah, for real. I prefer to be for the latter. We can't make up our minds. Exactly. Seems like a thing that this whole entire system wants us to be. Mindless on making up, you know, of what to do. Alright, it's more liberal in Saudi. But not by much. Bandito. I mean, I'm pretty skeptic of the whole secular education thing in Iran, but I mean, if it is, it is. I mean, then I'll eat my words on that one if it is. But if it's not, it's not.
No, I'm sorry, guys. I got this food right there. That's about it.
I'll help you out here in a sec.
Dan never went to get any food for them.
Oh, really? Oh, my lord.
Oh, my God! At least it's color on it has a phone number on there. So.
Yeah, I'm for neither. I don't like the extremes goals leads to workers losing their rights. Not necessarily. There's different ways of implementing that. Iranian education is not secular, considering religious mandatory attendance is practically education anyway. Yeah. It's just not in the same building. Iranian education, I mean. Tribalism leads to dangerous levels of nationalism and lack of innovation. And with that being on the rise and being encouraged, I wonder why it's such a...
Damn it!
I wonder why, you know, things don't actually get done, you know, considering so many things, you know, like this continue to plague, you know, the sphere of what issues should be, and considering, you know, that it's just not a non-issue. for mixed traded countries, everyone in the whole worker rights as high regard.
Oh, why?
I don't have a cow, Ignard. I didn't say you had a cow. I didn't think you had an animal of the bovine tree of families of animals and stuff. I didn't think you had a cow, sir.
Oh, bad.
I can go look around a little bit.
It's too late now.
Even those who claim to be fine tribalism, the most are still okay with certain circumstances. National status is okay for indigenous peoples in America's six colonies. People are hypocrites. Yeah. This is why I'm just sick of it. I try to at least hold up to the principle to be against tribalism, you know, as much as I can. As much as I know I probably commit the fallacy from time to time.
My message you can answer.
Alright. I'll try to look for him a little more.
Okay.
That's been done away with across the board if you want it. Consistency, no double standards. Yep. That's why I'm saying mixed system. It's about the rights of Native people.
No.
I have a metal taste in my mouth. Is that, like, bad? If you've been exposed to radiation poisoning, probably. Oh, you watched Chernobyl, that's why. You're making references to Chernobyl. I haven't seen it, but I know it's good. I want to see it. And I don't support workers being abused, so a megacorp can make a quick buck. And it's possible to support both things, very much so, yes. You can't put historically begrudging peoples against each other as oppressive versus suppressed and expect them to get along with the same roof society, not how nature works. Yeah. It just doesn't. Hence why, like, it just... Nope, but yes, I'm soaked in X-ray radiation. Oh. Well. So, you're soaked in X-ray radiation? How in the fuck? Okay, that's a... Okay. You're gonna have to explain that. X-ray radiation? What the fuck? Your oppressor, other guy's the victim, you oppress him, but expect you to love each other, get along under the same roof. Yeah, that type of shit doesn't really work out. Sometimes it might be able to if the two parties are willing to talk with each other, but generally, most of the time, that never really happens. You have to, over time, let that become a thing. You know, because, like, for example, England and France, there were times in history where they hated each other and were literally at war with each other. Nowadays, they generally are, for the most part, relatively friendly and have commerce and trade and shit. So, like it's over time, it's possible for that thing to happen. But if you just like, oh, here's your enemy, and here's mutual enemies. All right, get along, guys. Time to be friends, be neighbors. It doesn't work like that. It just can't work. That doesn't work like that. It is, essentially against human nature in that sense. Like, to be like, oh, let's just have, like, our greatest enemies just be right next to each other. Yeah, that's going to work out pretty well, huh? Not on the same roof, they won't work. Yeah. If they happen to be in a relatively decent distance, like if they're across the town or across, the mountains or some shit, if, some, whatever the distance is, depending how big or small it is, these individual entities are, whether they're just humans as two different towns or two nations. If they happen to be like a couple countries away, then at least there's a, this bubble in between them to keep them from being hostile with each other. And that, maybe potentially can work out with commerce, to some extent, very minimal. But it'd probably work out better than being exact neighbors. Hence why that whole, like, sorry, that whole, like, Israel project didn't really work out too well, because you're putting people who hate each other fundamentally next to each other and expecting it to fucking work. Yeah, like, that human nature doesn't work like that.
I'm sorry, but I can't end this search. It's 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning before you finish it.
Oh my lord. Life isn't a Disney movie. People need to learn this. Too many people expect singing Kumbaya all together. Yeah. I mean, for a lot of different issues, there are solutions. And overall, that can help out, in the long run, making society, just a little bit better. But at the end of the day, there's still going to be fucking problems that aren't going to be able to be solved, at least, to how we're able to deal with it now. Maybe down the road, they'll be able to have answers for certain shit. But right now, no. And even down the road, that's even in the open whether we would or not. So it's, so it's just, some things just don't have the greatest endings, or at least just the greatest solutions. Yeah. You just have to, it's just the best solution for that case that you have to deal with. The funny thing is, the Jews and Palestinians didn't always hate each other. They coexisted in the land for thousands of years. It was when Israel went all authoritarian and shit hit the fan. They lived beside each other, but they didn't have fond views of each other. They lived beside each other, but it was very much know your place /Jew/Palestinian. Yeah. Yeah, they might, I mean, that's kind of the whole thing, like, they might have, there's times where enemies can be neighbors and have it relatively work out. But generally it's because good fences make good neighbors, and it's basically know your place. Don't go into certain places where you shouldn't in these areas, boy. Don't go into these markets, Jew, or else you're gonna get lynched. Don't go into that synagogue, Palestinian, unless you want to get beheaded or some shit. Israel's an invasion. No one intended for it to work. Catch up. Hey, I didn't really think it was gonna work in the first place. I mean, we gotta live with the fucking seeds of what was sown, but, and live with the bed that was fucking made. But how to fucking try to solve, like, I'm willing to at least try to hear fucking 2-state, 1-state solutions. Preferably be Palestinian 1-state solutions, but the thing is, it's just like, there's no true fucking answer unless you want to just be like, just remove Israel from that area. But because of how structured and put in place of the manufactured consent of what how the system is made it of right now, they pretty much have a lot of control over the narrative, and if that ever happens, it would basically be a fucking outcry from pretty much everywhere around the world. So it's at least on a certain level, on a political level, it's a very hard choice, but honestly, at the end of the day, I don't really think it is. On a principled choice.
Are you nearly done?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I'll wrap it up, so. Yeah. It's just nabbing out in there to be out of the way. Confess make special those who hate you. Sometimes you can't make amends. Sometimes the ball's in the person in court. Yeah. Well. Did I just hear a collar jingle over there?
Huh?
I think I just heard a collar jingle over there somewhere.
Oh, it's over there somewhere.
Yeah, I did, because you want to know why?
Why?
He's in here. He's in the cage that's in there. You hit off in there.
You still
when all my friends You freaking out because when all my friends, I knew it. I knew he was here somewhere because when all my friends showed up, I know he didn't just leave out there.
Tell Dad we found him.
He'll come back in a second. But yeah, like, he ran off in there because pretty much we all swarmed in here and kind of invaded. And he kind of...
Bear,
come here, you goofball.
me calling your name.
Oh my god. Come here, buddy. Come on. Oh my god. Come here. Never mind, I don't gotta cut it short, everybody. This little shit turd muffin right here just was causing a lot of issues.
You're gonna make me freak out.
Little goofball muffin.
Why didn't you tell me?
I heard I knew I heard, like, I have change in my pocket, but that's what it sounds like. It was one little dingling. Yeah. Little pussy. Okay. Never mind. False alarm, everybody.
Oh, we found him. He's in the cage back in the back.
Ashkenazis are European, not from Palestine. None of this 1,000 years isn't shit. Yeah, Ashkenazis are definitely European. We're definitely aware. If they don't have an Israel go to a Zion, they don't meddle foreign affairs of the West even worse. They already demand high enough money and resources. Not better. As it should be in the Middle East. It shouldn't, but needs somewhere to not fuck it with the game in Western societies. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I do agree with that. You know, as much as I tend to be more, you know, anti-religious institute and shit. This, you see it right in between that plastic thing?
Oh, right there.
Yeah, it's just a little hole, just perfect for him to waltz in. That's, yeah. No, it's not PC, but I don't care.
Oh, you headache me, man.
Oh no, my liberal tears. Oh no, my liberal tears. I mean,
and everything else.
Let's send them into, like, Tibet or something. Let them, like, mingle with the Tibetans. Like, give them a stronghold. A stronghold of Tibetans? Maybe the Tibetans could teach them a thing or two. like, send them out into, like, that random village in Nepal where they have, like, that psychedelic beehive honey or some shit that they find out in these specific, like, cliffs. And, you know, go out to every certain time of year. China's always oppressing Tibet. Yeah, fair enough. So they don't meddle with Western governments getting from our system tax shekels. Why make it worse? I mean, like, yeah, fair enough. I mean, well, why not, like, why not, like, what's those, what's that, there's just, like, little, why don't we just, like, sanction, like, a specific chunk of the Amazon and then just let them do whatever they want in that specific little area? I don't know, like, seriously, like, I mean, like, give them a base of operations, increase their imperialist project. If they're in the middle of the Amazon, they have pretty minimalistic resources, but they'll, you know, at least they'll be fuck off. Fucked up.
There. Let's go to bed.
You goofball. Bear, don't go back in there. Get over here. He just saw him trying to go back in there, you goof. You found a new spot to sleep, did you? Huh. Yes, you did. What are you smoking, Suzuki? I don't know, dude.
What's the inside?
Give them a Zion in the middle of the ocean, far away of new and old worlds. How about give the Palestinians and Gaza in the West Bank? How about we give a Zion to that big garbage gyre out of that in the middle of the Pacific? Let them build like some, you know, let them lay some grass over that shit. You know, let them let it all, like, have some technology to coagulate all the plastics into this hard formatted, like, structure, and just let it be their island. Let it be their little island, bro. And give neither side Jerusalem. Make Jerusalem stay safe. Give the orcs Gondor that'll make it better. Yeah, give the orcs Gondor and, you know, and also make sure that the elves also have, you know, the whatever the fucking mountains are, like the David Valley or whatever the fuck. I don't know what that valley is, but just let them have that valley. Give the Middle Earth dwarves, the fucking Gaza Bank, and you got a deal. Steve Gali. Yeah, there you go. Boom. Yeah, there we go. We got a deal, y'all. Bam. I think we just solved the problem, everybody. The Jews get the Texas sized garbage gyre to, do whatever you want. And then, then you got the fucking orcs, getting Gondorgoy. And then fucking elves are getting, like, the David Valley or whatever the fuck. And then, give the Middle Earth dwarves, the fucking, like the Gaza Bank or whatever the hell. And then for the City of Gali, just let that just be its humble thing. Svalbard, I say. We'll see how Norway feels about that, but yeah. I mean, if they're willing to just say, yeah, we just use this for research, they can have everything else. Like, take everything that isn't our research facilities. What should we do about the Jewish Westchen? I like it. I say, oops. Give them a place to get the fuck out and go to, so they don't manipulate our elections for shekels or even worse than they already have. Or already do. Yeah. They do that now, you realize. Yes, they very much do. They want it both ways. And they can't have it both ways. No, sorry. Don't think it works necessarily like that. It's one of the issues I don't know if necessarily middle ground approach is for. I mean, in all seriousness, no, I really don't know what the fuck to seriously do with the issue, but when it comes to this whole Zionist ideology that, is very rampant and shit, and it's very manipulative in its structure and how it operates, it's like that seriously needs to be dealt with as an issue, especially its influence in government, not just ours, but in Israel's government and all governments, that it plagues, because they're not just those two. We needed Israel, but we need to support your money. Oy Gavay, anti-Semitism, the Anti-Defamation League. Very serious right now. Who, Carl or me? They should go back to Russia. Yeah, let him fight out with the Russian mob. Let's do that. Yeah. Let the Russian mob be their problem. Let the Russian, let it be the Russian mob's problem. I actually kind of like that. Oh, shit. We got a bunch of them trying to manipulate our system. They're trying to disturb the Russian mafia's status. We cannot have this bullshit. We cannot have this unnecessarily bullshit. Niet. Dude, I totally see it. I'm fine with that, but they won't view themselves as part of Russian society. They never do. Their primary loyalty is to each other. They value their own society above the host society. Israel's bad, Holmes. Israel's bad, Holmes. I say, let me just tell you, man. I just gotta let you know, man. Israel's bad, Holmes. This also even kind of ties into the whole broader point about the electorate, because look at AIPAC. I mean, look at a lot of the lobbies against BDS, Borders, Divestments, and Sanctions. Like, all these fucking things. Or boycotts, divestment, and sanctions. My bad. But, look at all, all these acts against it. in manufacturing the consent and manipulating the electorate to be like, hey, this is actually a bad thing because this hurts your business, even though in reality it's actually going to be hurting the business of his that align themselves and fund and sponsor Israel in a sense, and what they do, which is fucking terrible and fucking bad and needs to be dealt with, and they need to face consequences. Howdy, hey, what to do? We've just been going in a fat, deep thing about just the electorate in general. Oh, I actually was going to wrap it up because we thought we lost a dog, but he happened to be just chilling in a cage that was way over here in the corner. I heard a caller, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to look over here, and I found a cage, and I saw his little snout. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't have to go far to find him, and I didn't have to end the stream either, so now I'm going to be going here and sit here for a little longer. Fuck yeah. So, here I am. And here you are, sir. Boom. Make sure it's declogged. Sometimes I pack these and I accidentally clog them. I know it's bad. That's why I want far away from here. I want to go to the septic tank, but keep it away and contained. What about Serbia? Bro, for real? The whole Russia, like sending to Russia aspect. What about Serbia? Look, who the fuck lives there? Bong rip, yo. Hell yeah. You're damn right, son. Bear, are you in there again? You little fucker. Come on, come here. Come here, you little punk. I gotta block that entrance so you don't get in there, you sneaky bastard. Come here, Bear. Come here. You want a wee thin? I got a wee thin. You want a wee thin? Here, have a wee thin. He's actually coming for the wee thin. You're actually eating that wee thin. Hey, get back here. You actually ate my wee thin. You little fucker. I didn't think you wanted the wee thin, but he actually wanted the wee thin. You mean Serbia? Oh, Siberia? Why did... was I saying Serbia? Serbia already went through a war with my people in the 90s. They can't go to Serbia. Alright, Kosovo. You mean Siberia. Oh my god, have I been saying Serbia? I'm high. Oh my god. I meant Siberia. Oh my god. Slap me across the face. What the fuck was I saying? Serbia. Serbia, guys. That's totally Siberia. The place where no one fucking lives. Serbia, where literally like 2 people live. Oh my god, wow. Oh, wow.
Well, baby.
He went back in there and I lured him out with a wee thin for him to just get away from me again. Come here, you little bastard.
That's okay. I guess he's chilling pretty good.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I guess he just wants to chill. I'll have him chill over here, though. Get over here. Come here. There we go. So we're going to try to establish Jewish autonomous communities in Siberia, Far East. Look up Jewish Oblast history. USSR tried to make an Oblast for them. They didn't want to go to some random place in Siberia. They wanted Jerusalem. Force will make them reconsider. Yeah, I mean, force makes anyone reconsider. So, not surprised at all. Religious children less altruistic than secular kids study. I'd love to read that, but that stopped the stream. Just autonomous Oblast was created and try to get him to go there away for most of civilization. I mean, like, at this point, they've kind of lost the ability to negotiate for Jerusalem. That should be a city-state, for one. And for two, I mean, that's an option for me to consider. The Gobi Desert, why the fuck not? Summer warm. It still exists in Russia. Only 1% of the population is Jewish because it never went mass. It didn't work. Damn. What about, like, the mountains of Peru? Like, let them, like, rebuild Machu Picchu or some shit. Actually, not Machu Picchu, but, like, make their own Machu Picchu. Like, let them build their own little Machu Picchu in the mountains out there. Why not? Fuck it. Like a super, like, mountain city. Like, let them build, like, a super city. Like, in the Peruvian mountains. Like, let them actually have, like, something legitimately to be proud of out there. And, like, you know, for people that they can, you know, go, you know, for people to want and go to. What's this conversation even about anymore? Where to send the Jews, basically, I guess? I don't know. I really don't know. Trying to relocate Israel, I guess. That's the whole premise of the conversation. I remember plenty of empty space there. Well, with climate change melting the ice caps, it's going to be a little less icy out there, so they can have more land. I mean, why send them anywhere? I mean, this is just a fun little hypothetical. I mean, for me, I'm just having fun with it. But, I mean, low-key, though, like, they can... It's exposing land there, easier to develop. Well, let them build, like, a super mountain city, bro. Let them build, like, a super metropolis in, like, a mountain. Like, let them have something for people to be, like, legitimately cool, like, curious about and, like, want to check out. There's practically no Jews in Gaza. Why? They don't beg for shekels. Dipshit, lol. I'm just having fun with it. I mean, that'd actually be cool to have, like, some super city inside a mountain, but... Like, I mean, I don't think Israel will be up for the task. And the only Jews in West Bank are the illegal settlements. Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, there's a lot of illegal settlements that are being developed that should not be there in the first place. Yay! Israeli occupied Palestine. Great. They'll try to influence social societies to do the bit in Israel, so they should just go ahead and go there. Or to live in their own death camp, dipshit, Stefan. I mean, to be fair, that is kind of true. Like, the Gaza Strip is basically like a gigantic death camp. I mean, if you want to really be blunt with that. Damn, Jimmy just being savage. Stefan is low IQ, believe me, tremendous, let me just tell you. Oh, people tell me all these things, let me just tell you, believe me, tremendous. If it weren't barricaded, it wouldn't be. Get woke, my niggas. Get on the woke. One of us, one of us, one of us, one of us. Gooble gobble, gooble gobble, gooble gobble, gooble gobble. One of us. Where are you going, little punk? Where are you going, you little punk bitch? Little punk, little bitch. Little punk. I will destroy you with Snapple. I'm never going to support transplanting people just for the hell of it. Israel and Palestinians Everybody equal rights to the land, historically speaking. Kill can escape the Jew tricks. Plug into the woke tricks. They don't belong there, goy. Damn, son. I mean, if you really want to do the historical context of it, there's also different ethnic backgrounds of Jews. There's Ashkenazi and there's also like Semitic Jews as well. Semitic Jews, yes, because they were the ones who were ethnically native to their region, but Ashkenazi ones aren't. They're primarily in Eastern Europe, like in Russia and shit. Ashkenazis originate from the Caucasus, Russia area, not modern-day Israel. Yep. Israel needs to withdraw its elements in the blockages. What's that even mean? Who cares? Yeah, when it comes to the historical context of, or the historical relevance, at this point, that's behind me. Like, that's just, bringing up, like, past nonsense into, modern problems that need to be dealt with. And it's just, overall, just a serious fucking issue. It's just like, oh, let's bring back old historical conflicts so we can like, try to, like, make claims, for these lands and stuff. It's the whole point of why they're doing this whole, occupations in the first place, and fucking doing a lot of apartheid against Palestine, and to some extent fucking Syria too. Semitic Jews are basically extinct. Well, there weren't many left. And then whatever were left were basically blended in with the ones who were moved there, which are the vast majority are Ashkenazi, as Carl was saying above there. From Russia, Poland, Caucasus, yeah. There are still some original OG Arab Jews. Not many. Yeah. Hence I think the basically extinct. Because there's still some left, but not many. I don't really care where they're originally from. I don't support forced migration. Hey, we're just having fun, sir. I'm having fun. I still support the Israeli super metropolis in a fucking mountain in Peru, but that's just me. That's just me, okay? Just leave me to my fun little fantasy. Like a super metropolis in the Peruvian mountains. So Israel's okay, but Trail of Tears isn't #woke. Damn, son. There was no mixing homes that are forced sterilized. Well. Forced migration isn't okay in general. Well, yeah. At the end of the day, I mean, that is true. But I still like my Peruvian mountain Israel metric super metropolis city idea, though. I'm just keeping that out there. It's bad when it does it, but hey, for those Jews, it's a little more understandable because the fairy magic fairy tale says so. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the whole biblical revelation idea and the whole, like, oh, let's try to fulfill this prophecy, of a greater Israel. So, certain things like this, these are all things that, are put in play as to why, they get pushed, are able to push this type of fucking idea. Like, evangelical Christians want the whole, greater Israel idea because, they think it'll bring upon the end of the world and Christ comes back or some crazy fucking nonsense. And Jews do it because they believe that is their sacred holy land or some weird shit. Israel's an invasion. That should be on it. Yeah. That's a bit already there. That should be on this. I agree with the solution that involves the least amount of hardship. I think anyone can agree, like, whatever the least amount of hardship is to deal with this type of shit, like, let's just fucking try to do that. So move Israel. I mean, there is my super gigantic, super mega city that's inside the Peruvian mountains. There is that idea. So, just saying. Israel has a right to exist. They don't have a right to oppress Palestinians with apartheid. I mean, with their continuous, with the continuous, the crimes that they are doing, and considering that they are basically, like, what's it called? A satellite state, that leeches off of other states essentially for its own independence, then, I mean, I don't know. So yeah, move them. Israel's stealing it from them. Just like how EVYD stole America's peaceful indigenous peoples. Hashtag no excuse. Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with that. I can agree. Like the whole apartheid is them stealing land, but the whole, even them being founded there in the first place is also them stealing land. Hashtag no Jewish privilege. Hashtag you're not a person of color. Not benefit, absolutely no one. Technically it does, but I mean, when people are a victim of it, sure. Migration of YD in America didn't work too well for Native Americans. Jewish invasion isn't working too well for Palestinians either. There needs to be a consistent standard, aka principle. And hence why I critique Israel so fucking much whenever the topic does get brought up. I mean, like, sure, they have a right to exist, fine, sure, as a sovereign nation. But where they're at, they make these false claims, to be there, and then to just so they can steal more fucking land for their own version of manifest destiny. What a great claim to, be doing apartheid and, invading, fucking, people and shit. Good idea. Native Americans didn't disappear overnight, neither will Palestinians. This is a slow evasion and replacement. Tough shit, Israel, get the fuck out. This is why religion is actually a problem, Stefan. Yeah, because a lot of the reason why they do it, because they think it's a holy land for them. For anyone who believes in Judaism and is Jewish, they believe that Israel and Greater Israel, which Palestine, Syria, Jordan, all these other little countries in the Middle East happen to be in their hypothetical Holy Land. So in their Torah, they think that they need to overcome their enemies that are in these lands and instill and establish Greater Israel. And then there's Zionistic evangelical Christians who think once that happens, Christ comes back and then the end of the world happens. So, yeah. You finally realized that religion is a problem. You finally got it. Well, I've gotten that for a while myself, but if Israel's trying to replace Palestinians and doing an incredibly shitty job, sometimes it's a slow burn. Sometimes it will take quite a while. Israel is expected to be majority Muslim in the next 20 years. Based on what metrics? And that honestly sounds more... I mean, whatever. Slow encroachment, settlements, creeping invasion, pay fucking attention. Exactly, yep. They literally destroyed their country in a matter of 4 years. They took all their land. Yeah. give shits about their kinky fantasies. Well, the kinky fantasies is part of the reason why this happens, so we should probably give a fuck about their little kinky, fetishistic death cult fantasies. Because religion is a fundamental problem in this. Just as it is, when it came to the Iraq War and the power vacuum that came from that. Same thing with the power vacuum that came after Libya. The same one that happened during the Civil War with fucking Syria. Yeah, sure, you can call these guys baddies all you want, but that used to be in there before, but they were the ones who actually at least were keeping a little bit of stability and power. Yeah, why? That's why the religion needs to go bye-bye. Exactly. Oh my god. We don't need to remove them. We can keep having this discussion, though, because I love it. Religion needs to go bye-bye. Maybe Trump level talking, make them understand. Would Neolib advocate for complete withdrawal of troops from the Middle East? I think what they're referencing is the fact that there's a naivete towards the problem of religion, just because, First Amendment need to go by first. No, it wouldn't. No, it would not. Because the very fact that religion is using its authority to try to oppress other people and other groups is the very nature against the First Amendment. So you would actually be defending it if you'd be, tackling these fucking problems. I'm going to let my advocate for pulling out and let Israel do the fighting, not directed at you, just in general. Go to Israel, clean IDF boots. Oof. Oof. Damn, son. Oof. Getting heated in here, sir. We aren't saying ban religion, you nuts. We're saying it's bad and shouldn't be taken stock into anymore. I wouldn't swore if it would immediately replaced by a man upholding free speech in a secular society. So pretty much reframing the First Amendment by just taking out the free religion aspect, but they were not advocating that, though. You're liberal and pro-cap. That's a literal neo-lib dip. I mean, that's pretty much the most... Whoops. That's pretty much the most generalized version of what a neolib is, but yeah, pretty much. The First Amendment gives you the right to say religion is bad as much as you want. It doesn't force people to listen to you. You just said it caused the tribalism, Jew versus Muslim. Let me go back earlier. I just want to... Oh, yeah, right here. Ideally, they would combine the entire area into one secular country, which, the United States of Israel and Palestine, like something like that, that's secularized, sure. But with those two groups being religious nuts, there's no hope for that. Yeah, the thing is, that is why religion's a problem. Because if you got two fundamentally different religious philosophies of two different nations trying to coexist with each other as neighbors and shit, then you're going to have very big fundamental problems that are going to cause a lot of destabilization and a lot of strife and war. Because generally religion, especially Abrahamic religions like Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, and Catholicism to an extent, are all based, inherited off of war. Religious fundamentalism, the problem. So I don't get the issue here then. You assume it's defined as zoning research before making declarative statements. With religious nuts and tribes, there's no homes. Religious is not so bad. Beautiful. religious fundamentalism just comes from religion just thrown in trash. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the whole point of religious fundamentalism is the fact that there was a religion for that to be there in the first place, and religion encourages fundamentalism. I mean, there's fucking like literal quotes. Like, I mean, I can't remember. I mean, I don't remember the. I mean, I don't know any Quran ones specifically. Carl probably does. But I can't remember any biblical ones specifically, but they just outright advocate for fucking war and just genocide and shit. And there's countless stories, like, you know, fucking Noah's Ark, where the whole world just gets genocided and literally flooded and everyone drowns to death and literally every living thing practically besides like 2 of every fucking animal, which that doesn't make any sense in the first place, all on one fucking boat with one incest family. You know, just to... You know, like some random caveman incest family, you know, just coming out of nowhere that lives like 1,000 some goddamn years, builds like a super boat, you know, and just like, yeah, like what a great fucking, you know, magical fairy tale to base your shit on. It's just... Hence why when that type of shit is encouraged and fundamentalized, which it encourages, then there's a lot of problems that you're going to get from that. It's called fundamentalism for a reason, because it's the fucking fundaments of the doctrine. Exactly. Another way you can call these people are literalists. They take their word of their book, holy books, literally. That's another thing that's another key factor of a fundamentalist, is that they're also a literalist. On the end days, every Jew will cry out, "There's a Jew behind me, come kill him," to every Muslim on earth. It says that. Good night, Chrome Niner. Alright, this is Jimmy. I never said legislate it. Yeah, idiot. You fucking idiot. Again, how do you legislate? I care about realistic society. The solution is always realistic. That's what I'm focused on. I'm stunned. The wokeness. God bless you guys. There isn't, because the thing is, sometimes things aren't via just legislation. Things don't just work out that way. I was just J.K. Stefan, I know, just still. Certain things don't go through policy substance. Some things come from philosophical substance. So it's a philosophy that needs to be still societally, that these things are a fucking problem. And holy shit. It's Tyler. I better let Harley know that Tyler's calling him really quick. Hey, bro. Hey, Tyler's calling. Tyler's calling. Tyler's calling.
Tyler's calling?
Yeah. Ah, goddammit, now I'm running into shit. Anyway. Not every problem in society and culture is solved through legislation. Yep, exactly. When America turned to accept homosexuality, not as bad, it wasn't exactly a law aside from marriage. Like the only actual legislation that was really put into place about the whole acceptance of gay marriage and shit was the actual like gay marriage being passed into law.
Andrew.
Hold up. Oh my god, hold up. What's up?
Tyler's gonna come back by.
He's coming back?
Yeah, I don't know, like...
Sorry.
You hang up there for a bit, the girl never showed up.
Oh, okay. So he's gonna just come by for a little bit to come back? Okay.
You're good.
Tyler's coming back, girl never showed up. Damn. Booty called, but Booty dropped him. Dumped his ass. Some problems are solved through attitude shifting. Attitudes don't shift, there goes. Well, yeah, of course not. That's why it takes time. Yep. That's why I also don't think relocating the Middle East into Europe won't make it to them liberals in a decade. And then you have extremists resisting any changes. Yeah. There was an argument. I mean, it wasn't saying it was, but... It should be obvious this won't happen overnight. This takes a lot of time, but it's still important. Oh, yeah, very much so. See, because these type of issues, you know, hence why they're more philosophical more than policy-wise, is because these are things that need to be discussed, which, you know, at the end of the day, this is why I think, you know, as much as it seems like we were going banana at each other and shit and going at each other's throats, I mean, it was fruitful. But, you know, at least for me, at least, I think it was. I mean, y'all feel different, but whatever. You know, so, you know, it's just like at the end of the day, these type of things need to be discussed and need to, you know, be brought out over the light. And I think with the internet, that is very much definitely continuing to happen. And honestly, will continue to do so. So, I don't necessarily think yeah. The Islamic world did become Islamic overnight. It won't become non-Islamic if that ever happens overnight either. Long game. Yeah, just like the whole just like the whole apartheid Israel doing. They're doing the long game because they know if they do it very slowly over time, they can get away with it. I prefer to just focus on the U.S. Don't necessarily disagree. I just also, you know, take care into international affairs as well because I think they're personally just as important. Because, I mean, a lot of these issues that are even domestic here at home also, you know, are due to some problems overseas and international as well during international affairs. So, there's a big mixture into it. I lived outside the U.S., I have vested interest in places outside it. And I care about what happens to people abused by human rights violations abroad, whether Islam, Western imperialism, Israel, etc. Same here. For me, that's my main fundamental point. But even though I haven't lived outside the U.S., and only been outside it once to another, you know, liberalized society, but still. You know, just once. Even then, I still think, you know, it's, you know, important to have some vested interest in places outside it because the U.S. plays such an important key in that. Not just militaristically and foreign policy-wise, but economically, too. And not money required to get residency anywhere is not as feasible for me, so I prefer the U.S. minds its own business unless absolutely necessary. Which, don't disagree with. Never expect the U.S. to themselves try to bring down the religion of Islam. You guys gave up long ago. Makes you guys uncomfortable. We have to ourselves while regressive is retarded. Yeah. I mean, I you know, I never even was, you know, brought up on fucking Islam, and I'm just like, yeah, you know, I'm still willing to go out there and, you know, just like if any fucking religious say it's a problem, because, like, because at the fundamental core of it, how in the fuck is that even, like, any of your bullshit more accurate than the other bullshit that other, like, imam or fucking, you know, pastor or whatever the fuck, you know, spewing. I'll continue to fight what I believe is right and just, yeah, this is a principle. By all means, it's more endless sword. You want to go war China to human rights violations, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Venezuela, and continue to uphold human rights violations. So let's do human rights violations by stopping human. So let's stop human rights violations by continuing human rights violations. Never said war. 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 10 times 10 to the power of 10. Never said war. Never said war. Never said war. Never said war. Yeah, seriously, like no one's saying fucking war. Where was war ever mentioned? You can force these countries at hand to stop these type of things by doing economic or diplomatic intervention. Honestly, take out human rights violators, implied it. I just said diplomatic and economic means, however those means are attained. When that sanctions ever worked. With the apartheid in South Africa. Well, I'm going to have to repeat it. This is about ideas. Exactly, yeah. Philosophy, reason, exactly, yeah. Thing is, this is about specific ideas and shit. It's not just a specific, policy of how to try to solve a damn thing. That's a part of it, but there's a whole big implementation in the first place as to where you should see the principle and the philosophical implications of all these different types of things, all the different ideas of how to try to solve these different things, and what the ideas that cause these type of problems in the first place. Philosophy isn't kind of argues all. I care about practicality and never liked philosophy because it's involved just like with politics. It's involved with practically anything and everything. From the entertainment that you watch to the politics that are in front of you, it's there and it's going to be there and it ain't going to stop being there, and it should be taken into consideration when it comes to this shit. I'll keep fighting. Doesn't mean I have to like it. I mean, that's kind of what you get when you get the open market. I mean, when you get this whole, a legitimate open marketplace of ideas to talk about different issues and shit. Because this is what it is. It doesn't have to look pretty. You don't have to necessarily like it, but it's what it is. At the end of the day, it should be taken into consideration. That's why I delve into it so much, because whoops. Well, that just happened. Because with with every with every person trying to talk about a policy idea or pushing a fundamental idea out there, there's a philosophy behind that idea of why they're pushing it. And to try to understand why they're pushing that whole idea is to look at their philosophy of why they're pushing it. Same goes for the opposite side. I don't have to like state affairs for the rest of the world. I want to see change. I do agree with this. War crimes since 1947. My position is there's nothing we could do about it. We shouldn't be involved. I was joking about the white guild. I love that trope. Yeah, he just pushes that trope. Just don't mind that trope. Yeah, of course. There's nothing the U.S. specifically can do about it, and the U.S. alone should not be involved in doing something. But here's where the whole ideas comes in, and the whole philosophical point comes in, which is mine, here personally, of the U.S. on a collective, cooperative, global, international effort wants to help get involved to deal with humanitarian efforts and shit. That's fine by me. Or, on the same level, deal with issues like human rights violations on an international level. That's also the same thing. When it comes to global cooperative on humanistic levels and diplomatic and economic levels, I'm just fine with it. How about fix our common infrastructure or implement a functional healthcare system? Can I not advocate for all that at once? I never knew. I guess I have to be like a couple issue voter then, I suppose. instead of able to tackle all these issues at once. That should be a priority episode for all those. Yeah, exactly. One actual more endless wars on unnecessary refugee crisis. Well, that refugee crisis ain't gonna stop, but the endless wars is a potential thing that can be stopped. It's something that, with policy, can also be implemented. It's just that with the whole system in place, is it gonna actually happen though? Maybe, maybe not. 9% of internet arguments are, why are you caring about this problem? Should we be caring about X? What about Y?
Are you going in or not?
Yeah, a little bit. That gets on my nerves. And to be fair, I definitely commit that fallacy quite often, if it is a fallacy. It is a whataboutism, I suppose, so I guess it is. So I believe that the U.S. is capable of doing anything of value in regards to dictatorships and human rights violators. I don't think the U.S. specifically, but if it wants to, on a cooperative international effort, aka not being the head, but, you know, together with multiple nations want to help deal with those problems, then they're fine to do so. But if they want to be like, hey, let's try to solve shit, then no. If we want to try to be the big bad world police trying to solve shit, then of course fucking not. There's a big difference about that. What about this hashtag null? That's our internet discourse says society. Pretty much. It gets so annoying. It gets tedious and tiring. That's why I just keep hammering these type of different things and ideas at this point, because it's just like, what else can you do? Yes, could completely cut trade with China, but Jinping would probably would care. Maybe. I don't know. To be fair, I wouldn't really know. So, but maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. I'm sure he probably will retaliate, though, just for the sake of political power and political influence. Just out of curiosity, fun. How do you think the outside world should approach American slavery practice in the 19th century and the Holocaust? Yeah, well, all right, well, floor's yours then, I suppose. Oh, hey, Meg. You may want attention, have you, little girl? Yeah. I've been hearing you meowing off about. Meowing off about a lot. You little pretty girl. Yeah. Aw, pretty. You're so pretty. You're such a pretty kitty. Yes, you is. Yeah, you is. Oh my goodness. Genocide needs to be dealt with militarily. U.S. involvement in World War II was warranted. U.S. involvement in World War II was not warranted. Wait, what? Wait, what? Hold up, huh? U.S. involvement... You just... Okay, which one was it? Was it warranted or was it not warranted? Should the same apply to the Yemeni genocide? Should we deal with that militarily? World War I autocorrect. Okay. So, not warranted in World War I? Not the US specifically, but in the world in general. We're dealing with Yemen militarily. We need to withdraw immediately. We're making it far worse. Because we're aiding in genocide there. Because we're participating in those human rights violations. He's referring in tackling those human rights violations. So when you flip the switch, militarily interfering to stop those human rights violations. So flip the narrative, basically. Flip the hypothetical narrative that the U.S. is interfering militarily to stop human rights violations by interfering in Saudi Arabia by doing regime change. By making a claim that they're doing human rights violations and need to be stopped. No, war of Saudi Arabia isn't war of it as of now. As of now. So when's the tipping point? Flip narrative? Well, what I mean is, like, the current narrative is that the U.S. is aiding in the genocide, and I'm saying the hypothetical narrative that we're in placing is that the U.S. is militarily intervening to stop that instead. So that's what I mean by flip the narrative. It sounds confusing. Sorry, but what? Yeah. Holocaust warranted American intervention, but Yemeni doesn't. So they can have the Jews, not worth it to me. Depends on the particular situation. Depends on the human rights violations. We're not keeping a really staunch principle on this. Neither side of Yemen is good. Not saying any other side is. But one of them is doing a lot more human rights violations than the other side is. Because the other side is getting cholera, famine, literal genocide. There's too many of them dying and being sick and too weak to, from starvation to fucking do anything themselves. And plus, there's blockades in medicine and food anyway. A lot of it by the U.S., by the way. So, some genocides are worse than others. I mean, to be fair, I suppose that is kind of true. In the U.S., going to Saudi Arabia side of open support from jihadists. Saudi Arabia openly supports jihadists anyway, so what's the point? Like, Saudi Arabia funds Al-Qaeda in Yemen. And the other side has support from Houthis and Shia rebels. Saudi Arabia are already jihadists. Pretty much. Or it has a very clear side and bad side. Yemen does not. I don't even think World War II even has a clear good or bad side, to be honest with you. The USSR and the allies like the UK, France, and the United States have definitely their fair share of shit. They're not clean from World War II. So you're just gonna bomb both of them? That means more civilian deaths. How? I don't know. Japanese and German camps, literally starving India by doing famines of rice and crops to funnel all that food to the war effort instead of trading with the U.S., which was definitely a means that was capable. And the USSR doing Holodomor, literally doing mass killings and rapes in the fucking Germany. Germany had concentration camps. So did the Soviet Union. And to some extent, the United States. Your point? There's no, to be fair, honestly, I don't think on a certain principle that there's no true good side in that war. USSR had its own concentrations as well. Does that make Germans once okay? For of course, fucking not. I take Western democracies so fast every day of the week. I'd put the democracies in quotes. Because the UK still had a monarchy, and France was just doing workers' rights violations left and right. Hence why there was a whole workers' commune instilled and shit. And the Paris Commune was a fucking thing, and the Fourth International was held in Paris. I can't stand fascist ideology. Neither can I. And neither can I stand the hypocrisy and the broken system that was in the fucking West at the time too. Nothing we could do about it now, but still can call it out. Was the Queen leading? Yeah, no shit. Of course, Winston Churchill was in power, but they still had a monarchist state. It's called a constitutional, representative monarchy, basically. The monarchy might not have all the power, but they're still influential, and they still hold an influence in the government. They don't really as much anymore, because they're just a cultural stamp now at this point. But even then, I find that very questionable. I'll take Western democracies over theocracies any day of the week, same with the Nazi Party. Same here. I mean, I think that just goes without saying. I think anyone can go, obviously, say, yeah, Western democracy is a little bit better. It's a little bit better than the Nazis. Yes. Obviously. But even then, we still can't criticize the Western democracies. What, they're forbidden from criticism? They were just these shining angels that just literally did no wrong at all, and just were the great heroes and the good and the did nothing wrong good guys. Of course not. They did a fair share of just of horrific war criminal bullshit just as much as the Nazis did. You could say both were not good in the war. To determine their type of government, and they chose to resist, and that was their prerogative. If their people decided, hey, I'd rather not die in a fruitless war, and just prefer the occupation, then maybe things would have been different. Not saying there was a clear good side. Hold up. World War II had a very clear good side and bad side. Sounds like you said there was a clear good side. And I'm saying there ain't, because there wasn't. Obviously, there was two victors, the Soviets and the Allies, if you want to technically call them two different things in this war, because they weren't necessarily a faction with each other, but they were definitely aligned with each other temporarily. I don't think the good lesser two evils. Standing up to Islamists has led to 18 plus years of wars. In Afghanistan, but in Iraq, that was tackling someone who wasn't an Islamist at all. And if anything, kind of kept that shit on the low. Kind of curbed it. Same the whole thing in Syria and in Libya. I don't support the war regardless, but there should be some consistency if we wanted to bomb Europe and firebomb it, but not the Middle East. Yeah, I mean, we were going to have a principled stance on the whole, like, we need to intervene in, like, literal genocide, like what happened in Europe in World War II, then let's have that let's at least have the consistency on the other thing, too. Or both are, or we shouldn't have gotten involved in both. Situation based. Then we should probably intervene in some way to stop the genocide, shouldn't we? Because I think we probably should. We should probably find ways to stop the things in the genocide in Yemen. We have made things worse in Yemen by participating in the genocide. I'm saying we should stop it. Because it's human rights violations that shouldn't be happening. I care about human value, and that also creates a greater problem with a refugee crisis as well. And I'd rather not impede that type of fucking problem on Europe either as well. It's more or less. You can do that without doing a war, by the way. Stand up for human rights? Of course not. But the one who's I'm saying the ones who's advocating genocide. Who's doing that? Saudi Arabia. Who's helping them fund it? United States. So how about we stop doing that and actually open the blockades and start giving humanitarian aid like medicine and food in? That's something you can help stop the genocide. Sanction the fuck out of Saudi Arabia. Cut all funding with oil and military investments. That's how you can stop the fucking genocide. There's no way there's a way to do it where you don't have to necessarily support either side, but you can still say, hey, maybe we shouldn't do genocide on humans, so maybe we should stop doing that. Rest of civilization's moral exhaustion can't stand up for itself while criticizing itself. Damn. So I get for the out section of the whole Middle East human rights record fermented diarrhea. At this point, I tend to agree with that. I agree with sanctioning the entire Middle East except Tunisia. So, you're okay with involvement then? We all three support the U.S. leaving the Middle East. I say just sanction. Yeah. No economic sanctions. Well, that's what I've been trying to say all along with sending shipments of medicine and food, because we're kind of blockading that. But that should be done via international efforts as well. So it shouldn't just be us, but we should also be collectively talking with other nations on how they could send a little bit of medicine and food as well. Especially once they make an abundance of any of those. Make it really hard for Saudi Arabia to do business for U.S. companies. No military involvement at all. Well, that's what I'm talking about. You can do these things without getting militarily involved. Preaching to the choir. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, the entire time you have been kind of preaching to the choir. Like, I mean, because we're saying, like, because you can tackle these issues without military involvement. We're in a day and age where military involvement isn't necessarily necessary anymore. This ain't like World War II in the 1940s. You shouldn't just blindly be sending medicine and food. Saudi Arabia would just steal it. Not blindly. Not saying just blindly. Hence why cooperative effort. Because if, like, the whole world ends up sanctioning entire Saudi Arabia, they're going to be too poor to fucking do shit. This seems like we've been disagreeing the entire time. I mean, well, it seems like it. Somewhere along the line, we all had a miscommunicate. Well, you know, there was a miscommunicate of some sort. Till the Middle East to come back to West doorstep once we reach the 20th century, let alone the 21st. Fucking real, man. I mean, it needs its own time to fucking progress, and we not only just the U.S., but, you know, Saudi Arabia and all these other fucking countries continue to ruin it, and just make it consistently worse. If that means we have to sanction the entire fucking Middle East until they all start slowly, becoming more modernized, then, fine, we'll release it one by one. Let them all lead by example. The Middle East never came to the West. We came to steal their oil and we fucked up big time. Yeah. And now they are coming all up in this shit. And now they are coming into the West. Oh my god. All caps. No military. Lol. Damn. They're fucking alone. The problem sort itself out. I don't know if it'll necessarily sort itself out, but I mean, at the end of the day, they need to be left the fuck alone. Damn. We had, like, literally 3 hours of fucking juicy epicness. Well, 2 hours and 59 minutes. Holy shit. Middle East never came to the West. Well, they are now. Yeah, that's why, yeah. Even though it's because of our wars, they are now. It'll be better than it is now. In a way. Like if we never got involved with tackling Saddam or Gaddafi or trying with fucking Assad still. I mean, yeah, things probably would be a little better. There would still be some shit going wrong, but at least we can, on the same level of non-military involvement, just want to emphasize that, hold them accountable via diplomacy and economics. In this day and age, you can hold nations' feet to the fire in that way, because pretty much in this day and age, that's how the world goes around. It's via commerce, trade, and economics. I mean, so you use that to your leverage. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And yeah, it might be, short-term hurt, or, hurt for the people in that country, depending on the station. But, the whole point is that they're supposed to, at least have a fundamental change. I wouldn't have overthrown Assad. Yeah, me neither. I wouldn't have either. Dictators don't care. They just want to save their own asses. Hence why if you pressure them a little bit, economically and diplomatically, where their people might want to rise up and do a regime change on their own prerogative because of the situation and the conditions of their country, then yeah, they probably are going to save their own asses. So that's why you can do that. Sanctions are fine. It's not even think they will change anything. Not saying it will change anything all the time, but because the whole point is you not getting involved. I mean, because it's the people of that country who are supposed to try and instill change at that point. And if they're doing atrocious shit and end up and the people end up wanting to overthrow their government, and sanctions is just a tip of scale for them to do that, then they'll do it. I agree, it's not going to save the world, but the problem is going to fix itself. Leaving them alone won't necessarily make them LGBT secular libs in 100 years. Neither will bringing them to the West. I know you're not saying that, but still. Yeah. I mean, that's why you have to use economic pressure from time to time to try to help, in some case, make them change to some extent. If they don't, they don't. But if they do, they do. It won't fix it. Sometimes it ain't gonna fix itself, and sometimes it might, and sometimes you have to put pressure to make it fix. And sometimes that won't even fix it. Sometimes it might just need a little more time. All this will depend. So anyway, guys, how's that weather out there? What the fuck? Hold on, I gotta read this. I don't really care if they decide to be SJW lesbians with turbans of compassion. U.S. involvement has done zero good. I mean, with a comment like that, how can you not really disagree? Or, how can you, not agree with that? That's what I meant to say. I mean, because that is agreeable, it's obvious, U.S. involvement of, again, just preaching to the choir, but honestly, maybe they can use a little bit SJW turbans of compassion over there. Hey, let's just, give the SJWs, one free trip to, these places and let them just, infest the place. Infest the region, and just, let them overthrow, and just let them forcefully overthrow them with their strong woman, feminism and shit. Two wrongs don't make a who cares. That's the part I kind of disagree with, though. Yeah. SJWs would be super triggered. Oh my god. I don't think Westerners understand most of the Islamic world, save for the Balkans, views West tolerance of LGBT the way we view a country that tolerates pedophilia / child brides. Really kind of the most disgusting and immoral thing ever. And something like that is going to take quite a while to change. But still something that should be dealt with, though. It's lost cause. I'm not when it's plaguing Europe right now. You know, to a certain extent. And, you know, like, to certain aspects, you know, causing a lot of fundamental problems around different parts of the world that aren't. But it is a lost cause, though, yeah. Like, I agree with you, like, 90, just like a lot of 9s and 0%. Overall, though, yes, I'm on that very same page. It is a lost cause, but I'm still gonna fucking fight it, because it's fucking ridiculous, and every now and then you get deconversions, and those are the ones that we need to cherish. Cherish those that can be deconverted. Because of those type of things, it's a philosophical battle. Kind of part of the reason why I love delving into it so much. Because, you know, if you can, like, at least get a broad understanding of what their philosophies entail, we have an idea of how to deal with it. Let me try saying is the Islamic version of Quakers in the Middle East convince them to reproduce less. Or Quackers. Why not? That'd be a good idea, honestly. Because overpopulation is seriously becoming a fundamental issue. Like, if there's one thing we can at least probably try to do is give them some fucking sex education. My God. If you're gonna fuck, at least, you know, get some goddamn condoms. Hi, Crane Fly, can you go away? I'm out, it's 140. That's 140 for me, too. Yeah, I'm probably honestly thinking about wrapping up, but apparently Tyler's coming back, so I should probably wrap up before he shows up, to be honest. From now on, I need to preface every argument I make with hashtag no, hashtag what about X, hashtag fuck for interventionism, reaching peak autism. Oh my God, for real. Good luck with that, Muhammad said, to reproduce as much as possible. He could go fuck off. He can fuck off, piece of shit. But, hey, I guess in the Bible, in a way, it does too. Just not super directly, and I guess, because Muhammad obviously was just, like, writing the whole fucking book. So Muhammad was drunk when he said that. Sadly, in the actual book, it says that drinking is forbidden. It's haram. I actually meant to listen to the Islamic Quakers. Oh. The equivalent, if they have any. Quran literally says, wage a baby war with the infidels, invade their lands, and outbreed them in them. Muhammad preached a baby war of demographics. What was this, the Book of Mormon or something? No, just part of the philosophy of Islam. Which again is using an irrelevant fucking absurd thing of ethnic demographics and using it to push their fucking narrative of pushing Islam. Hence why there's such high birth rates in places like Africa and the Middle East in comparison to Europe and America. Islam doesn't conquer civilizations by knocking down doors and handing out flyers like Mormons do. Yep. They do that by knocking on doors with a gun. For the most part. In the Middle East, at least. In America, not really, but you don't see that. But everywhere else, though, a little different. The Quran is a military guide. This should have been obvious. I mean, it should be honestly viewed more like the fucking Art of War by Sun Tzu more than anything. The Quran is very militant, very political. Very much so, yeah. Hadn't read it. I don't want to read it. Well, to understand the problems of Islam, it is important to read it, understand it. I honestly want to get it so I can read it, so I have one to actually read and have one on hand. I find religion illogical. So do I. It's just read it, Stefan. Maybe you want to be so forgiving and naive on it. I actually have. Because you were raised on it, so you definitely have. At least twice, maybe more. Honestly, probably at least 4 or 5 times. I mean, I've read the Bible a couple times. That's why I think it's such an absurd fucking book. And illogical, and why I'm an atheist. Well, part of the reason, at least. But, you know, if I was raised up in Islam, it'd be the same thing. Because, well, example A right there. Boom. In the chat right there. Boom. Well, for me, at least, he's right there. Boom. But, yeah. People actually believe in this shit. It's uncomfortable to have knowledge of it, but people do believe it. It makes them often go terrible things. Yeah. That's why there's ISIS propaganda videos where they demonstrate how they use a chest bomb. And somebody using it. And then them literally being held by their intestinal lining and just basically dead. Just so, yeah. Fun. That's also why they have also propaganda videos literally drowning people, burning them fucking alive, putting the fucking 50 caliber machine gun to somebody's head and, you know, getting a good burst. You know, there's all sorts of shit. Let's talk about ISIS specifically, but I'm sure Al-Qaeda's done similar shit. Maybe not to such horrific extents, but they've probably done their fair share. Because the reason why they split from, ISIS split from Al-Qaeda is because they were literally just more fucked up. Like, that was, as far as I know, I think that was the main reason why Al-Qaeda's like, fuck them. They're even more fucked up than us. It's not just drone strikes that lead people to jihadism. Jihad has been along since Muhammad founded Islam. He's the first one. Yeah. The thing is, the drone strikes exacerbates it. It causes people who might not have been potentially prone to jihadism and that type of fundamentalism in Islam. But the drone strikes now maybe have just made you made those people those type of people, a jihadist, because some dude just doing his own thing, just wanting to tend to his family farm and shit, you know, maybe just just every now and then practicing Islam, you know, suddenly his grandmother died at the open marketplace, you know, across the village due to a drone strike, and then Al-Qaeda comes running through like either later that day or a few days later, or the next morning or whatever the fuck. And shows up, or, you know, not even Al-Qaeda, like Taliban or ISIS or whatever terrorist organization or some militant organization comes through and says, hey, we know there was a drone strike here, and for those who wish to take revenge against the American devils and the Westerners who are haram and the infidel, pick up a gun and rise against us. Well, they're going to be like, well, shit, I just lost my grandmother to this drone strike. They just, you know, hurt some of my fucking family, and, you know, and like, all, you know, on top of that, my brother, you know, just got fucking bombed earlier and lost his arm and shit, surprisingly. So, like, and surprisingly survived, but, you know, is probably not going to survive long due to an infection or some shit. So, well, hey, I should probably take up a gun and try to fight against these type of people, you know, for whatever cost it may be at this point. So, it exacerbates it drastically. But it's always been there. Love it when Western libs think, oh, must have turned your cheek like, but Jesus. But then you actually show them, it's like, oh no. Becoming a jihad because of drone strikes, like becoming a clamor because a black person mugged you. Explanation? Yes. Justification? No. Of course. It's never a justification. It's an explanation of how some people could potentially become into that type of, you know, ideology, but never justifies them getting into it, of course. because, you know, for them, the best way to do it is to, you know, take mass rallies in their country, you know, saying, hey, stop fucking bombing us, U.S., and, you know, call their country to take change, you know, try to advocate for some change if they have a fucking government, if it hasn't already been toppled and destabilized already as it is. So, you know, like, there's justifiable ways to go about it, but, of course, due to the circumstances of the regions and their, you know, place in society, essentially, that is really minimal, like, on the level it's likely going to happen in 0 to none, practically. So I need the end of wars, among other reasons. Of course. Exactly. Because it might not, it obviously is never going to end jihadism, or at least, you know, it never, like, you know, but it'll at least not rise to the extent it has been. It'll probably never really die out. It'll probably change its face, you know, over time. It maybe become, you know, part of a different religious idea instead. But, you know, the whole idea won't change. But, you know, because maybe 100 years it might not be Islam. It might be fucking Scientology or some shit. Who knows? But in the next 100 years it could be different. Maybe not. But, you know, still, never justifies this shit. And, you know, it's something that we could try to stem and try to, you know, help curb as much as possible. But at the end of the day, it's a philosophical and ideological battle. And all you can do is just try to have the better idea and the better principle, and just stand firm on those. At least when it comes to these issues specifically. I mean, honestly, especially because of these issues. It's alright to have an open mind, but when it comes to having an open mind, it's also aware to know which ones want to close it. I'm not okay with the fact that people turn the Quran for guidance in life. I want to discourage it, even if you cherry pick. It's like turning in Mein Kampf if you don't want people to hold it up. Yeah. Exactly. Like, look. Pretty much, that's why, you know, in some way, if I meet somebody, that's why I always, like, look at it individual, you know, when it comes to their religious idea, because I want to see why they specifically have these ideas, and try to pick at that. And then and then if I have opportunities to go back and forth with the person, I like to, you know, try to show where it is also in, you know, an idea in a secular manner. And try to show them, you know, how it's also not just a religious idea. And, you know, it's not just because of religion in a sense. If we are in this conversation, of course. But, you know, in this hypothetical scenario. But, I mean, actually, I was once. So, actually, hold up. So, when I was at the furry con, that happened last May. For Landia or whatever fuck. They had a panel, you know, for, you know, religious people, you know, just about pagans specifically. So they at first had like a little circle going around, you know, be like, hey, what's your belief system or whatever it is, you know, who you are, you know, identify yourself, basically. And I was just like, so for me, I came out and I was like, you know, I came here because, you know, while I'm more on the anti-theistic atheist, you know, side of, you know, atheism, I still yearn to have an understanding of people's beliefs, and I think, you know, I don't, you know, like, while I might, like, and pretty much it's like what I was pretty much saying, if I remember correctly, was like, you know, hey, you know, like, I don't mind people having their own personal beliefs, whatever, you know, that's, at the end of the day, that's you, and that's your business, and that's totally fine, you know, it's okay. Like, you know, just don't, you know, it's just a whole, you know, force and indoctrination of it. Like, you know, that, and I emphasize that, and people are like, yeah, okay. You know, once I emphasize that, and I was like, but, you know, at the same time, it's just like, I also like to, you know, try to understand people's beliefs, you know, so I can kind of show them in a way where it's, you know, approached in a secular manner. So, you know, in a way of, like, showing, like, hey, you know, it's not through these ideas that, you know, you can, you know, uphold these type of, you know, principles that you already do. You know, it's just the fact that you can just do so. Hold it up on a pedestal, that needs to stop. By law? No, but discourage it by putting the stock in the Quran Bible, etc. Exactly. Yep. Just gotta have to just discourage it type of shit. Saying, why should we care if people put faith in Quran/Bible is like saying, why should we care if they read Mein Kampf? Even if they're liberal, it's still disturbing. Don't do it. You're flirting with dangerous shit. Yeah. I mean, if someone is reading Mein Kampf, you know, it's probably fair to ask why. It's fair explanation. To be fair, like, well, for me, here's my personal, to be fair, because it's just on me. For me, I've wanted to get the book just so I can read what the actual context of what the book actually holds. Like, I'm actually curious of this book about him, and not because, you know, of the ideas in it. I already know what they are, and I already know they're reprehensible. But, you know, I do, you know, I think it is an interesting, you know, book to check out and to read, but not to take, like, in a literal context. And shouldn't be. And shouldn't be discouraged. It's the same principle as to why I would have read the Bible or the Quran as an atheist or whatever. Because it's to understand what more about what the context of what this person or what this ideology or what this faith or whatever the fuck is being instilled. Not because I have a curiosity of like, ooh, let's go in here for an open mind to see what it all says and cherry pick some stuff. Like, I could cherry pick some interesting points of, you know, where personally on a philosophical level can agree with, but overall I'm going to be like, well, I still don't agree with this whole fucking book because it's a piece of shit. But, oh, because he had one little point because he says something good. Oh, well, whoop-de-doo-doo. You got one thing right out of a plethora of bullshit. Nice. Nice job. You know, you got one rational thing right out of, like, a million bullshit things. You didn't really do good. You got, like, 1 point out of 100, you know, point test. Congratulations. You fail. Like, I mean, no. Just because, you know, a doctrine or an idea or a book or whatever has a few little things I could cherry pick that may or may not be good, doesn't mean the whole fucking thing is, and shouldn't be taken as such. I can totally understand that someone raised in an agnostic household who's unfamiliar with religious texts would have a problem with people putting them on a pedestal. If you haven't read them, then you're probably not going to know how disgusting and violent they are. It's naivete. Read it. It ain't pretty. That's why I fear it. Yeah. That's why I don't have a... It's why I go out and criticize and go against it, because there's fundamental issues with the problem, with what it entails and what it pushes. Like, I mean, you know, just, you know, like, not to throw Logan under the bus, but I'm going to do it a little bit. Just a little bit. No offense, Logan. Love you. But he has a Muslim friend who's white, too. He's actually, like, blonde as fuck like me. Like a blonde, blue-eyed Muslim white guy. But, it's just like, you know, you have this guy who, you know, for overall is, you know, a peaceful dude. You know, he's actually really chill. You know, I've met him a few times. He's actually a really cool dude. And honestly, I mean, he's just a cultural Muslim, if anything. It's more like Muslim by name, if anything, from what I can tell. And it's like, well, yeah, he cherry-picked a few good things out of it. Whoop-de-doo. Like, I mean, if you, like, yeah, like, I mean, he probably hasn't actually read the whole fucking thing. And you know what? To be fair, neither have I. But I don't have to be a guy who's read the whole thing to know how dangerous it is, because the very organizations that are that we're doing the war on terror with have pushed that same philosophies and same fundamentals that these type of religions push. So it's not hard for me, you know, to say like, this could be a problem. So, I mean. It's just, like, I mean, because I've read some parts of the Quran online, because I can look them up. I mean, just listening to the Masked Arab on his English videos, at least, on the different fundamentals and tenements of Islam, you know, kind of it gives me more understanding. And it's just like, it's, you know, I don't necessarily have to have the fucking book, but anyway, you know, still, I like to have the Quran on hand. Even the fucking Mein Kampf, because if people are like, yeah, here's some good things, I'd be like, let me go through and see some bullshit that, you know, seems like it not be so satisfying. What you think? You know, so sometimes it's nice to have, you know, books on hand to familiarize yourself with it. This is why people need to be familiar with it. Hey, I just said that, so there you go. If you don't know what the alt-right was teaching, then you probably be a lot less likely to say, fuck those guys. Yeah, because, you know, on a certain level, I can have a little understanding on certain parts of their ideology. I personally still say fuck them, but I'm still willing to break bread and have a conversation with them. And honestly, I've talked to a few of them myself, and not all of them are outright reprehensible pieces of shit. Now there's people that are, but you know, there's not all of them are. And honestly, I met a few in real life. You know, going to a few protests in Portland. And honestly, you know, I come here like, yeah, you know, I kind of agree with what's being marched about and shit, but you know, I'm not like here, you know, trying to like start shit or whatever. You know, I'm just, you know, like you know, if anything, I'm willing to have a conversation. And you know, and at the end of the day, having a conversation, you know, with a couple of them, you know, like, they weren't long. I remember them not being that long, but, you know, it was just like quick little bits of a few of them. And they were more fruitful than some of the fucking back and forths I was seeing the times I have been there. Now, there was times where people were having honest, outright debates and discussions with each other, you know, in a civil manner, too, before the march, during the marches and stuff. And, you know, so it's possible. And I know that people can, you know, get past the fuck those guys mentality. But, you know, I say as a general, never give up on someone. People can and do change. There are people who are far too far gone, but it'll surprise you. It'll surprise who will change for the better. Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, even at some of these marches that I've been to, I can't say for now, but, you know, the ones I've been to, you know, like, last one I went to was like less than a year ago, but more than 6 months ago. And that one, you know, like there was, I think, you know, showed that to me, even, you know, even in this little crowd of a bunch of people who probably don't really know exactly what the protest is about. But well, actually the last one I went to was a women's march, so actually there was. But overall there was some, you know, a few counter protests, but I was seeing in between all that people, you know, hashing it out, essentially. But not aggressively, like. They weren't even like, come on, bro, type shit. None of that was even happening. Of course, I can't say for now, but, you know, at the times that I've been to them, you know, things have obviously looked a little different. But things weren't as divisive and as aggressive as then. Talk to people on atheist, ex-Muslim forums, and general ex-religious forums, atheist, republic, etc. People who were, but in case come back months later, apologize, say they've changed. Yeah. It's possible to be deconverted. Like, I mean, like, you know, the whole, like, Kyle's been pushing videos about, you know, callers that David Packman gets about people saying, yeah, I've been deconverted because I heard a caller call up and I just want to talk about my experience. You know, and yeah, it's just like, he's been doing a few videos kind of pushing that out there, and I think that really shows, on a philosophical perspective, people can change, and people do, it over time can evolve. Which is like, why I kind of was like, really, you know, you seriously, like, don't account philosophy, Stefan? Like, I mean, that's the whole fundamental thesis of like, why policy is even a thing. Like, I mean, philosophy and policy are, like, they don't, like, literally always go hand in hand together, but for the most part, they do pretty much go in hand in hand. Especially when it comes to people's political beliefs. Like, I mean, people's political beliefs are their philosophical beliefs. So, I mean, you know, and over time, people can evolve and change. I mean, fuck, I know I've evolved and changed over time. As sad as it is, sometimes it's gone the other way. Sometimes I hear people call into jail, people like, I was an atheist, dope, smoke a single pair, supporting liberal, and I've changed me into Jesse, God bless. It's just autism, man. They deny the philosophy and importance of ideas. Yeah. You know, it's like being right, you know, a good chunk of time, but then sometimes it's just like you're missed the point. It's just like, it gets fucking frustrating. I mean, you know, it's just like, that's why, you know, I mean, you know, at that point, you just gotta try to continue to push, you know, the whole importance of that, essentially. I mean, but at the end of the day, whether he liked it or not, you know, the whole philosophical point of trying to have, you know, the free speech open battle of ideas, we just commenced. I mean, for 3 fucking hours. So, like, I mean, that's at the end of the day. I mean, I think that was progress. While there was fucking problems and disagreements and hashing outs and going at each other's throats and shit. I mean, at the end of the day, definitely better than most discourse, honestly. We do the same to Joe about mine. Yeah, we do. I mean, but hey. I mean, look, like, that one for me is a little slightly different because that one's legitimately fucking frustrating. Like, I don't get Joe's love for Joe. Like, it's... Like, how many times, can you explain to somebody? Like... Hey, this motherfucker is not only just lying to you, but he's being deceitful, malicious. He's a fraud, a corrupt, sellout, neoliberal establishment shill. Serves it like all. There's a.
Andrew, I'm back.
Yeah,
I gotta use the restroom real quick. Though.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I heard you got the booty call booty dumped.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think maybe it's because she got tired and she left because she didn't think I was gonna go. Sometimes she got too drunk before bar time. Before.
So you just kind of hung out at the bar and just kind of chilled.
There was karaoke there. That's what kept me.
Yeah, because they love your karaoke up there, dude.
Also,
that's
I
why.
met other friends up there that I made too.
Oh, I'm sure, dude. I'll be
right back.
Okay. Go ahead. I feel bad for being dicks to them both, Stefan and Joe. I'm bad about being an angry asshole. I love them both. Hey, it's all good. I mean, you just got, like... At least we didn't have someone say Biden is trustworthy. Oh, God, yeah. Sure. Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, hey, you just gotta, like, emphasize that, just, like, don't, take anything I say, like, to heart, just, like... Or do, like, the little sarcasm sign or something, Just be like, hey, I'm just being sarcastic or some shit. I'm just joking at this point, like the little satire slash sarcasm little thing. Something like that. I don't know. I mean, it's just like... Cause for some reason, Stefan just, like... Well, obviously, I guess, it's understandable why before Stefan, but... Yeah, I mean, he doesn't like it, but, I mean, it's just like... It's like, no, really, like, get him... I mean, he's like, you get Carl, the wrong idea. Like, he really is, like... He just, like, is an edgelord. And, is an asshole at times. But you know what? It's okay. You know what? Assholes are needed, all right? Because as much as I love them, as much as I can be one at times, I'm not much of an asshole enough to, be one myself. So other people got to take the mantle. I can be one at times. I know that, but not always. And I don't usually do it often. So. I'm like Metal T, but I don't want to actually kill anyone. No, that's a fucking for real, dude. Yeah, for real. Honestly, low key for real, though. I mean, like. Oh, Bandito! Yeah. I mean, it hasn't really gotten too... Like, he really... Like, at this point, like, he just makes, like, the Auschwitz jokes as, like, his, like, joke thing now. So, I'm not... When he just makes those, I'm just like, oh my god, at this point. But, like... When it gets into the more detailed shit, when he gets on these deep rants, and then at the end, then he sums it up with, like, that's why we need to just round up the... it's just like, okay, now I take it seriously. It's like, dude, whoa. It's just like, dude, okay. Now it's a little different. But he does the whole, like, gas thing. It's just like, oh, God. It's just like, alright, well, stay night. Low-key kind of hope not, because, I mean, I don't think he can anyway, because Harley's already passed out in there, so... Yeah, he actually can't. So, yeah. Oh, he is? Yeah, Harley's passed out in there. Yeah, he forgot. He kind of mumbled himself in there, and he's Yeah. They probably forgot he was in there, but yeah, Harley's passed out in there. So, but Harley's like a hard sleeper, so I can. He's probably not even moving to me being loud. Bandito, 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 beautiful bandito, bandito. Bandito. He's just a pretty boy, Bandito. Come on. Come on. Bandito.
I think I might have drank a little too much throughout the day.
Throughout the day, oh my god.
Yeah.
You're like, I think I drank too much throughout the day. I'm like, too much at the bar. I'm like, how much could you have drank in such a short amount of time? Like, an hour. At least. But, like, damn, son. All day. Damn, son. Carl, can you top that all day today?
I'm drinking water, by the way, right now. Ooh.
No, that's gin. That's just,
No.
he just gulped a fat fuck load of gin. How many beers can Tyler drink before he's fucked up to the point that he can't?
No, I think actually also Brenna was like, she was smoking from some vape pen that had like, weed in it.
Yeah. How many beers can Tyler drink before he's fucked up to the point he can't drive? Well, he doesn't drive, so...
I don't drive, but let's see. Let me count what I had. So, I had 2 of those Kush drinks from the...
I drink a whole lot, but usually at night only. Yeah, I've got more than a night drinker.
And then, I think there was that... Yeah, there were some ales that I had in the Wichita, about 3.
I can get about 5. Damn. I think, for me, usually, like, I can get a decent buzz
I
on...
had a 3rd drink, actually. It was worse. That's right.
Yeah, like, I can usually, what was I about to say? Like, usually I could get a pretty decent buzz on, like, 2 drinks, but then, like, it takes, like, about 5 for me. Usually. Oh, did I freeze? Oh, I did freeze. Oops. There we go. I fixed it. Oops, I broke it again. What are you doing?
Actually, I'm really high, and I need to play your bass so I can write a riff right now.
Wait.
I can't.
You're
It's in my
really
head.
high, and you
I need to play your bass
no.
in the room. Sorry, man. I
in the
need to
room.
write
Harley's
the
in there,
riff.
so okay. Dude, you're so high, dude. You are so high right now. Holy shit.
Sorry, did I wake him up?
No,
Okay.
you're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Okay, I think
You could be in my room.
your guitars will suffice.
Well,
I'm
don't use
so
it. Well,
sorry.
just
I
use.
didn't
Well,
know
you
it was
you
up
take
there.
the acoustic out of there, but just don't plug it into anything.
He might be hugging it. It's hard. He loves bass.
I know. Oh my god.
Here,
Let me.
Your guitars will be fine, dude. Hold on. Sorry, dude. Dude, my eyes are really red, dude.
Yes, they are.
I'm aware of this. Sorry.
Dude, you're like, they were the vape pen you took?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're high as fuck.
How much does that have, dude?
I don't know. You should have asked her.
That shit is, like, strong.
Dude, she has some good shit if you're this blitz.
Like, dude, oh my god. That was too much.
Well,
Like, that I had.
well, there you go. Happy Hanukkah.
Like, ugh. I don't know. It's like I'm kind of psyching myself out a lot, too.
I mean,
Like, on my way here, I think it's probably the alcohol. But I don't think I drank enough water, so...
well, hey, you just gulped a lot right now. I mean, overall, you're fine, but you're definitely high.
And I think it's my body's way of telling me that I just need to drink
Dude, you
more,
just-
like,
the way you
drink
did
more
that,
water
You were
after
like,
I
you looked
drink
so
alcohol.
stressed when you did that. Like you were trying to. You're fine. You're
Yeah.
fine. You're just like, go ahead.
But yeah, I'll be back as soon as I get that. I know this is weird as shit. Like, as a musician, you will, like, as a musician, when you want to write something,
You might just need to tune it. You might just need to tune it a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
And just don't plug it into an amp. Yeah,
I won't plug it into an amp.
Okay. We need to get Tyler acided out. I'll trip him, and if I'm ever in Wokalandia.
I'm not ready for that. Sorry.
I can handle my alcohol, I just can't handle my THC. I could kind of handle. That's a little bit of the inverse for me. Definitely an inverse for me. Damn, Tyler's lit. Oh my god. Oh, it's kind of funny. I didn't realize he got lit. Tyler could try ketamine that relaxes to hallucination or PCP. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Honestly, I know there's been a time where he said he was not ready for it. So I know there's been a time where he's talked about where if he feels like he's ready mentally or some level, he might do it. And it's like, yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, it's not really going to do that much to you, really. I mean, it does, but not the way he's probably thinking. Like, he's probably thinking, oh, there's going to be new neurological things happening. That means my brain's going to be totally different. Well, not really. But, I mean, yes, but no. Like, your personality isn't necessarily going to, like, change like that. I mean, it just might evolve a little. Or it might just have slight alterations due to that. But, you're not going to be like, bruh, love the trees, man. Like, you're not going to be like that, Feels like laugh gas, access, same receptor, close to compared to having trip without anxiety, freaking out. Well, I ketamine PCP. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I listen to PCP specifically. I've just been a little like, I don't know, but I don't know. I feel like I'll probably have a change of opinion probably sometime in the future, but I don't know. Just right now. Like, if things change, maybe, sure. LSD, even on significant doses, is much more clear-headed than THC or alcohol. PCP just has a reputation. It was used as an anesthetic in the 50s. That's what it was invented for. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not really... Yeah, for me, it's just, like, reputation, I suppose. I mean, if, like... There's, Like, I mean, if there's, like, studies out there about it, about good, uses of it currently that could be beneficial, like, which, obviously, at least for anecdotal experience for you, there can be. But, well, I guess maybe not beneficial, but, like, not as harmful ramifications via recreational than I'd probably consider. I'm sure you probably got a little bit on hand, I bet, considering the expertise. But if you ever find any, just gotta DM me or some shit. But anyway, I've been going on for nearly goddamn 4 fucking hours, so I'm gonna, like, load this last little bowl once I catch this one and all this shit. Wrap it the fuck up. My god. But hey, this was fruitful as fuck, if I do say so myself. That's just me, though. Not now. Finding what? Didn't even find what? Oh, just, like, studies about, like, PCP on its, like, uses that could be, or at least, like, the beneficial / like effects of it for like modern uses, essentially. Because I don't know if there is any. I'm not familiar with any, so that's what I like to look at. I guess if there's just the fun part about me, it's that I like looking at studies about those type of things. Because obviously, like, when it comes to legalized acts of regulation, the regulation part, the whole idea for that is, that you could get certain drugs just kind of like, benign and just kind of like gone. So, I don't know. To be fair, I probably, honestly, now that I'm kind of looking back on it a little bit, I remember seeing all that like PCP shit on those cop shows. Honestly, thinking about it, dude might have also been on PCP, but probably other shit on these type of cases. So who knows? But yeah, ketamine is being used as an antidepressant in low doses, light trip doses. I don't know. CRPC couldn't do the same. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a little bit more open to the ketamine though. If I happen to find any or somehow or whatever, I'll be down for it. But anyway, for Ignarism, I think this Ignarism wasn't just about just overall the Electorate, but just, you know, that ended up branching off into far many different issues, which I think at the end of the day kind of leads into that same idea about the whole Electorate and talking about that in itself. So overall, very fruitful little Ignarism, I think. A very long one too. It was a nice one. A very juicy Ignarism. Ketamine got the reason why it has that reputation is because it lowers your inhibitions, like alcohol, non-angry, violent high, can just make you that way. Ketamine is a shot in the vein, right out of pharmaceutical vial. You can buy it from the dealer. Oh shit! Okay. Well, veterinary anesthetic. Nah. Strange. I've always kind of thought about working in the veterinary world. Could have been a ketamine dealer. Lava comes from Mexico because veterinary drugs and anesthetics can be obtained easier there. Damn. Smoky. Oh man, I just got like a little bit of chewed up wheat in my nose. Oh man, hold up. That's nasty. Oh. Oh my god. What the fuck? Jesus. Oh my god. Did I just like get like a mild high off of fucking wheat thin? Oh, I feel like it's like still in there. Oh. Oh man. Oh. I feel mildly irritated now. Oh god. Oh. Ugh. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? Like, what the fuck? Why? Why? Boom. Boom, 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 bam, 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 bam. I'm gonna sit you right there. Right on 12 feet. Bow, 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 bow. Alright. Load of my final bow. Load of my final bow. Oh, man. Oh. Five 30 a.m. here later. Oh yeah, dude. Don't worry. I'm wrapping this shit up. I'm loading my last bowl. That's why I'm all silent now. I'm just like, last bowl, silence. Must end. One more stretch and all that shit and all that fucking nonsense. Oh goodness. Stretch them legs. Stretch them legs. Oh my goodness. There we go. There we go. Oh, that feels better. That feels better. Alright. Finish up this bolo and just get the fuck out of here. Get the hell out of here. You son of a bitch. Why don't you just get out of here, sonny? You don't mind me. You don't know me. You don't own me. You can't indoctrinate me in this electorate system. You can't make me your pawn, bitch. As much as I am. As much as I am. Because I'm in that same fucking system. Ain't it fun? As much as I'm aware. Gotta enhance yourself into the woke tricks. Unplug from this matrix and insert yourself into the woke tricks, y'all. Enter yourself into the woke tricks. So the rabbit tricks are for kids. Oh, I finally got that wee thin out of my nose. Oh, the relief. Oh. Man, that was chaos. That was chaos in my nose right there for a little bit. In my left nostril. Fuck me, dude. God. Ugh. Awful. Sad. Believe me. Alright. Bowl time. And now I'm out of here. But hey, stay tuned for the next one. Hey, I'm gonna have to just keep doing these Ignarisms live again, because this is nice. This is a nice little change of pace. But anyway, peace out, everybody. See y'all next.